The pressure in the court keeps rising, and every faction is starting to realize Zhuo Fan is playing a deeper game than they ever imagined. One wrong step here could turn the entire capital against itself. Edifice's main hall, grandmother took the seat of honor with a frown. On each side of her were the 15 overseers. Bang! Grandmother threw a sending jade on the table and sighed, "This is the Luo clan's 10th message. And like the ones before it, they all warn of a great disaster, that we need to retreat to Luo clan. What do you all say? Humph, that vile ingrate, our edifice lord sacrificed so much for him, and this is how he repays us. By stealing our most sacred treasure. Who'd believe his messages? I bet it's just another one of his sick, twisted schemes." Peony Overseer was the first to show a negative attitude, her anger having reached a boiling point. Iris Overseer nodded after a pause, yet the frown never left her. Nevertheless, even with Zhuo Fan's insidious mind putting us on guard on every one of his actions, it's better to believe the worst than be skeptical and suffer because of it later. Taking up arms won't harm us in the least. I have already activated our defenses for any eventuality. Grandmother nodded. As for the credibility of these jades, it remains to be seen. Boom. A rumbling sound came from outside, rattling their ears. All overseers looked on in shock. Grandmother shook and turned downcast. Zhuo Dandan burst in as fast as her legs could carry her. "Oh God, enemy attack. Dandan, speak clearly," Peony Overseer said. Zhuo Dandan gasped a few times. Drifting Flowers City's guarding array is under attack. Senior sisters are now inside to defend it. What do we do, Grandmother Master? We're really under attack. The overseers were incredulous, turning to the jade slip with regret. Zhuo Fan meant nothing more than to simply inform them by sending those messages. Grandmother, the 15 pairs of eyes turned to her. She was feeling as much regret as the next woman there, but she couldn't let it show. As the leader, everyone believed her words were always right, even when wrong. Any doubt would cripple their morale and the battle would be half lost from the start. Grandmother flashed her eyes with steel determination, conveying confidence in this great crisis, confidence she didn't have. Iris asked the 3 venerables to come. Peony, send jade slips to our allies for help. The rest of you, follow me to meet the enemy. Let's see which bastards dare challenge Drifting Flowers' edifices. Grandmother hammered her staff as she made her way forward with dignity and strength. The others regained their calm and flew out of Drifting Flowers City. Iris and Peony set about their tasks. Only Zhuo Dandan was left there pouting. Didn't he tell us again and again that this'll happen? Now even if you do believe him, we are cut off and can't run. Dandan, what are you mumbling? Who taught you to talk of your betters behind their back? Peony Overseer glared. Zhuo Dandan retorted, what talking back? It's the truth, we got a clear warning for 3 months that this was going to come. You know nothing, Peony Overseer barked. Don't you know who Zhuo Fan is? He even stole Bodhi root from us. How can we trust him? How can we be sure it's not another trick? But it was Yan Fu who told me. He'd never lie to me. Zhuo Dandan was stubborn. Peony Overseer shook her head. You brat, Yan Fu was never good to begin with. Now that he's with Zhuo Fan, he's even worse. No matter how sincere, he needs to first prove that Zhuo Fan had nothing to do with it, that it wasn't false. You think I don't know where you've been running to these months? Besides bringing the 10 sending jades, you still have 28 more love letters from that kid. How can a pure girl like you be like this? Have you no shame? Zhuo Dandan blushed and huffed. That's beside the point. They have been giving us real information all along, yet you always second-guess his intentions, thinking there's a plot where there's nothing. You silly girl, you've been growing bolder, I see, to talk back to your master. My lessons haven't been thorough enough, it seems. Peony Overseer was at a loss and blushed with shame and anger. Zhuo Dandan ran away with Peony Overseer on her heels, their mission forgotten. Grandmother took her overseers outside and gasped at the sea of black. Leading the army were Hell Valley, Mary Woods, and Pill King Hall's lords. Against such a lineup, even with the home field advantage, Drifting Flowers' edifices array would be under immense strain. Gulping, Grandmother grew anxious. The overseers were scared out of their minds, shaking all over. Yuanshan's side laughed. Grandmother, we 3 vow to take Drifting Flowers' edifices. Surrender now, cease these needless hostilities, and there won't be casualties. Yuanshan held his head high. Grandmother squinted. Valley Lord Yu, what's the meaning of this? Have you forgotten Tianyu's laws? The 7 houses are banned from engaging in civil war. Marching towards Drifting Flowers' edifices with such fanfare. His Majesty will hear of this and will exact punishment. Grandmother's speech was full of dignity and logic. But Yuanshan laughed harder, his mocking gaze thicker. He, old hag, why else would we be here in the first place? It's all by His Majesty's leave. Yuanshan shouted, there's no one out there coming to help a bunch of broads, ha ha ha. What? Grandmother was incredulous. Keeping the 7 houses in check had been the imperial family's policy since the dawn of the empire. How can they change tactics, letting the land devolve into anarchy? Impossible, Grandmother refuted. What crime could we possibly have committed for His Majesty to treat us so, to let you attack us? Ha ha ha, old crone, don't play dumb. Who doesn't know of your ties with that wretched spawn Zhuo Fan? With the mess he made in the imperial palace, he is the nation's #1 criminal, and with your connections, you aren't far behind either. At Yuanshan's cackle, grandmother shuddered and sighed. Zhuo Fan raised us and now he crushes us. While Zhuo Fan was on his power trip, Drifting Flowers edifices had never been safer, but now that Zhuo Fan had become the national enemy, the others used this excuse to get to Drifting Flowers edifices. Their 1,000-year-old legacy would lay in ruins. Was it truly the right choice to have an alliance with Zhuo Fan? Much good did that thinking do at this point. All they could do was buy time for their allies to come help. Grandmother flew up and shouted, "If you want to destroy Drifting Flowers edifices, then come, I will face any contenders. Ha ha ha, I've heard so much of the Lady of Steel and have long wished to try you out." Yuanshan flew forth, covered in gray energy, letting out eerie cries of infants. Hatred and grief filled the sky, sweeping grandmother in its clutches. With the shrieks of agony, malignant specters made of anguish bit at her. Hell Valley's profound ranked martial art, demonic face seal. The hearts of the overseers were in their throats. Demonic face seal was a soul attack, creepy and powerful. Grandmother had no power against it. Yuanshan laughed, finding victory in his grasp. It was then that a glaring white light flashed. The howling sea of agonized faces came to a halt as ice spread all over them. They cracked to pieces, pulverizing the demonic faces, leaving room for grandmother to walk out and send Yuanshan flying with a palm to the chest, and leaving behind a scarlet trail. PFF, Yuanshan spat out frozen blood as he wobbled to his feet. Drifting Flowers edifices, profound ranked martial art, heavenly austere ice palm, trained to such perfection it can even freeze my demonic face seal. Congratulations, Lady of Steel. Valley Lord Yu's demonic face seal is too exquisite even for me to take lightly. It's all thanks to decades upon decades of hard work that I had the honor to match Valley Lord Yu's skills. With how grandmother wheezed, looking thin and pale, she wasn't faring much better either. Yuanshan cupped his hands and withdrew. Yan Bogong laughed, stepping in next. Ha ha ha, grandmother has aged with grace, coming above even the likes of Valley Lord Yu. How about you humor this old man next? Yan Bogong, you lowlife, you just want to take advantage of grandmother having fought a hard battle and being exhausted. You're just picking on the weak, one overseer cursed. Yan Bogong took it all in stride and showed a light smile. That's a little off, my lady. We 3 houses joined hands just so we don't have to go one-on-one. How does picking on the weak fit here? We just want to duel with grandmother right now for a bit instead of starting the assault. We're doing you all a favor, Yan Bogong justified himself, leaving the overseers speechless. Grandmother let out a cold laughter, her eyes icy. Yan Bogong implied he was giving Drifting Flowers edifices leeway, but one thing remained unchanged. In an all-out war, Drifting Flowers edifices had the disadvantage, but it wasn't going to fall that easily, not when having a defensive array. While grandmother was the pillar of Drifting Flowers edifices, with her being dead, the battle would already be over. Even with the array, when there was no one to direct it, defeat was certain. Yan Bogong and company wanted to cut the head and the body would follow. These duels were in fact in their complete favor. The astute grandmother picked up on their little trick right away, but she accepted anyway. The 3 lords' defeat would have the same drastic effect on the enemy as her death. It went without saying that it would work wonders in cutting Drifting Flowers edifices' casualties short and would stall for their allies' support. It really was the best choice in Drifting Flowers edifices' current situation. No matter how weak grandmother felt, she had to push on. Just that revulsion at Yan Bogong preaching righteousness always came to her. Both sides are fighting a battle of minds for their own interest, yet you want to look cool doing it. Yan Bogong, come. Grandmother had an icy air and a smirk. Yan Bogong smiled there, calm and carefree. But the next second he turned savage, launching Rainbow Cloud Palm with both hands, Pill King Hall's signature move. Grandmother knew it was coming and had a shield of ice around her as she went on the offensive. The poison was acidic, but it wouldn't eat through the clear ice that fast. It took no longer than a flash for grandmother to pass through the heavy poison cloud and reach Yan Bogong with a palm strike. Watching the icy palm inching towards his chest, Yan Bogong's heart tensed. His fate would soon be the same as Yuanshan before him. He might be on edge at the incoming ice, but not panicked. He even had time to show off a creepy smile. Grandmother had a bad feeling about this. Whoosh from the thick fog, one man shot in front of Yan Bogong and punched. It was Mary Woods' Lin Rufeng. You, grandmother cried. Lin Rufeng grinned, one and only. The punch and palm collided. Lin Rufeng's savage power pierced the ice on her palm and wreaked havoc in her body. With a sharp sound, the icy shield collapsed and 10 fierce blows hammered her body, sending her flying. She shot through the poison cloud and into the ground. The blood she spat tinted the ground in eerie colors. This was the worst outcome. Grandmother was heavily wounded and poisoned by the rainbow cloud palm, PFF. Puffing out more blood, grandmother glared at the two above with endless hatred. Mary Wood's profound ranked martial art, empty cloud art. Our empty cloud art is based on speed, splitting an attack into several blows to tear up your insides. The more advanced the cultivation, the more splits. You may have ice protecting you, but not even that can block all of them. I have managed to unleash 20 splits, ha ha ha, Lin Rufeng laughed in pride. The overseers rushed at grandmother's side, giving a hateful glare at the two lords above. You no good two-bit filthy scumbags. Is that how a house lord acts nowadays, stabbing people in the back? Oh no, no, no. Didn't I say that already? This is a coalition of 3 houses, anything goes. Besides, us two work great together and we haven't even surrounded you with our forces yet. What's wrong with that? Yan Bogong snickered. The women's eyes spat fire from all the rage boiling in their hearts. Grandmother panted, finding it hard to even speak. Take me back now. Yan Bogong snickered. You won't get away that easy. Attack, their head is down. It's the perfect moment to take them all down. Understood. The sea of people came in like a tide. The overseers rushed to get grandmother back to safety. But Yan Bogong's team of 2 was faster, making a sinister strike at the retreating grandmother. Take her out of the picture and the drifting flowers edifices would follow. The other women rushed to defend her. The overseers stood no chance in front of 2 house lords. They were dead in one blow, unable to stall 1 second. 2 more turned back to attack, but grandmother stopped them. Grandmother, they all cried. Grandmother sighed, I won't be able to survive this, but you are the future of drifting flowers edifices. Go withdraw. Let Iris become the edifice lord. I will hold them off. Grandmother, no. They all teared up in sadness. Grandmother barked, you bunch of ignorant girls, how can you not see what's in front? I have to hold them back or we'll all die. Go back and wait, we will get our chance when support comes. Grandmother trailed off. Not even she was certain that drifting flowers edifices could come out alive, but held on to hope still. The women saw the steel gaze of grandmother and despite their distress, they nodded and withdrew to drifting flowers city. Grandmother showed a clear smile, watching them go. Silly girls, take care. Ha ha ha, Chu Bijan, you should care about yourself first. The 2 closed in, Yan Bogong's creepy voice reaching her ears. Grandmother had a cold smile, her mind set, Humph Yan Bogong, Lin Rufeng. As long as there's one breath left in this body, you will never tread one step in drifting flowers edifices. Grandmother flew high at the 2. The 2 met her fearlessly. She had the Lady of Steel moniker, but with how downtrodden she was from that last blow, they wouldn't qualify as house lords if they backed off now. With a bang, the 2 sides clashed. The shock wave turned everything around them to dust. The 2 kept on attacking, even as grandmother was spurting blood and lost consciousness. Her frail and damaged body slammed into the ground. Grandmother, the women shed tears of pain at their helplessness and their weakness. Yan Bogong walked over and struck again. Ha ha ha, the great Lady of Steel's head is mine for the taking. Something shot straight for Yan Bogong. He squinted and looked shocked, killing with intent, a radiant stage expert. Bam! Yan Bogong panicked at the incoming soul attack and put up his defenses, despite being a mere profound heaven cultivator with no chance against a radiant stage expert. The intent left the 2 groaning. Yan Bogong even flew away, leaving a trail of blood in the air. Lin Rufeng stopped dead in his tracks, trembling and rooted. Russell, 3 graceful figures floated between grandmother and the lords, drifting flowers edifices venerables. Looking back at the unconscious grandmother, one shouted, What are you waiting for? Get her out of here. Understood, the overseer's morale soared, flying away with grandmother. They were at ease knowing the venerables had their back. The tide of people came to a halt as well. Humph, you lowlifes, dare set your eyes on drifting flowers edifices? The venerables faced the thousands with angry rebuke. Yan Bogong barely stood his ground, pale and weary, yet not a trace of fear. He, big words for just a bunch of broads. If not for the imperial family's help in the past millennium, you'd never see today. Don't think for a second that being in the radiant stage will change anything. Which of us houses doesn't have its own venerables? Now more than ever, when we have the great regent estate taking the lead. Ha ha ha, we are the ones behind this siege. Laughter shook the area. To everyone's shock, an astonishing power surged as a grizzled old man showed his face. His eyes flashing like lightning, his face excited. Each of his breath felt like the world was sucked away, then unleashed back as a storm. The 3 venerables squinted and shouted in shock, Huangpu Finglay, my purpose here is to deal with you 3. His head held impossibly high, Huangpu Finglay flicked his hand with disdain. I am not one to pick on women, so I'll take you all on. Twitching, the 3 turned grave. Despite living in seclusion, they had all heard of Huangpu Finglay's name. He was a rare, peak, radiant stage expert in this world. The ones capable of fighting him in Tianyu could be counted on one hand. Sure, there were 3 of them, but the strongest was only in the 5th layer. It'd hardly make a difference. But as Drifting Flowers Edifice's venerables, having enjoyed its resources for decades, they weren't about to flee in the face of danger. They were women, but they were principled, even more so than some men. With a deep breath to steady their nerves, one showed her will to fight or die trying. Sisters, today's the day we will fight for justice. Ha ha ha, it won't matter. We've lived together and we'll die together. A fitting end for our 100-year friendship. The 2 laughed. The first smiled. Having reached an understanding, all flew at the mighty Huangpu Finglay with not 1 ounce of fear. Huangpu Finglay praised, I've heard of Drifting Flowers Edifice's women being staunch, and now I see it for myself. You are far better than some male wolves drunk on power. Huangpu Finglay continued, I will give you 3 free shots at me before I attack, seeing as I'm so kind. Begin, Humph, thank you for your consideration, sir. We're happy to accept. Huangpu Finglay was tough and the 3 were not fools. If the guy gave them 3 free moves, they weren't about to refuse. They had a non-zero chance, impossible odds true, but there was always the luck of the moment. The least they could manage was injure him, stopping him from breaking the array. It would give some value to their deaths, knowing to have returned the kindness Drifting Flowers Edifices offered them for so long. With 1 less warrior on the enemy's side, Drifting Flowers Edifices' chances would rise. The 3 turned solemn, each taking a direction and making a sign. The wind picked up and the yuan qi surged. A white mist formed between the 3, linking them and feeding off each other's strengths to their very peak of power. An ice phoenix took form between them, 300 meters large and shrieking. Huangpu Finglay's brow shuddered. Combination martial art. I never knew you'd be so in tune with each other, of the same heart and mind. Humph, who needs your praise? You should take this instead. The leader of the 3 scoffed and pushed out her palms. The other 2 matched her perfectly. Shriek the ice phoenix unleashed its full killing intent on Huangpu Finglay as it charged. All in its wake turned to ice, even air itself. Yan Bogong cried out in shock. Radiant stage experts weren't without their fame, while a combined attack from 3 went farther. Such an attack would wipe them out, peak profound heaven experts, along with half the people there. Forget about fighting Drifting Flowers Edifices at this point. It was a miracle if the army stuck together. Yan Bogong and Lin Rufeng exchanged a glance and cold sweat ran down their spines. Thank the Maker they had Regent Estate on their side, with High Venerable's personal interference. The casualties would have been horrible without him. These broads sure are tough, unlike everyone's panicked look. Huangpu Finglay praised and looked on with a calm expression. When the ice phoenix got near him, he waved, Humph, this skill sure is dangerous, but not to me. Huangpu Finglay clutched the ice phoenix's neck and squeezed. With a bang, the phoenix crumbled into glittering ice. Huangpu Finglay grinned. First, the ice fragments released an unbearable coldness, unleashing a frosty wave straight towards Huangpu Finglay. It swallowed him in its midst, leaving behind nothing, not even Huangpu Finglay's body, just a sparkling human-sized ice sculpture. High Venerable, everyone cried. With Huangpu Finglay getting done in from the 3 hags' attack, how would the rest fare? Amidst their anxiety and fear, cracking sounds revealed the breaking of the sculpture. With a bang to finish, Huangpu Finglay was revealed in all his glory with a manic laughter. Who knew such an attack hid an even stronger one? Ha ha ha, how amazing, not that it did any good to the likes of me. High Venerable is invincible, the crowd cheered. Whooshes sounded as the 3 venerables flashed right in Huangpu Finglay's face. Huangpu Finglay, we knew this attack won't work, so we prepared a little something. The leader shouted. The other 2 also yelled and their fingers formed a sword, profound ranked martial art, Dark Heaven Finger. Huangpu Finglay gave his all to resist this time around. But the ice and coldness from before had him slowed down, giving the 3 venerables enough time for their sword fingers to hit his pressure points. With the sound of freezing water, Huangpu Finglay felt icy coldness invade his body and freeze his veins. He was shocked that Yuan Qi could hardly stop it. This can't be. With his power, not even these 3 together could freeze him, yet now. Huangpu Finglay turned grave and doubt sprouted. His fists clenched and body shuddered. The leader had a cold smile. Huangpu Finglay, did you think that combination art was all to deceive you? Wrong, so very wrong, ha ha ha. The ice on Huangpu Finglay grew harder and thicker. His body soon became rigid and only his eyes were moving. He ended up getting caged inside the ice like a lion, poised to jump out at a moment's notice and rip its quarry to pieces. Don't look at me like that. There's no chance of coming out of this. The ice phoenix's cold energy is keeping you frozen, not to mention the icy energy in your body keeping your yuan qi sealed. This way, our Dark Heaven Finger works in tandem with the first attack and freezes you solid. The leader's eyes sparkled with the joy of victory. Ha ha ha, you may be a peak expert, but with your yuan qi on ice, even if you get out of our move, your power will be cut in half. Huangpu Finglay, you brought this on yourself. Despite being frozen stiff, Huangpu Finglay didn't panic, speaking in a sinister tone. Hags, don't write me off so early. Your parlor tricks are no match for me. Huangpu Finglay let out dragonic roars and exploded in a golden shower. Roar, 9 golden dragons shot from inside him. The powerful yuan qi waves shook the ice off and sent the 3 women flying as well. The 3 left a trail of blood as they hit the ground. Looking up, they watched Huangpu Finglay come down like a god, wrapped in 9 dragons and with an overbearing aura. That relentless power surging around him was testament to his state of health, undamaged, untouched. It came at an even greater shock to the women, followed by despair. If even their combined attacks couldn't do anything, this man was a freak godlike. They lowered their heads, bitter, having lost all hope. Huangpu Finglay eased up on the glaring light show and overlooked them like the emperor as he raised a second finger. Imperial tyrant body art is the strongest cultivation method among the houses. No one can stop me, that was the second move. Sisters, we have one more chance, have you thought about it? The leader showed resolve, ready to die. The other 2 smiled, what's there to think? Of our peak skills, we can only use that. Let's do it. The leader nodded, getting their feet under them and watching Huangpu Finglay above without any fear. Huangpu Finglay, you better keep your word. Since you said you'll give us 3 free moves, then 3 is what we have. Of course, my word is my bond, but what could you possibly come up with that can work, humph? Huangpu Finglay snorted. The leader was calm, nothing, only our blood for our house. The 3 jumped high at Huangpu Finglay with power and speed. Huangpu Finglay frowned, unclear of their aim. What other combination art are they using? Why can't I sense anything? The venerables took 3 directions around him and shot their palms forward. With 3 sounds, the palms impacted Huangpu Finglay's perfect body, without so much as a scratch. Huangpu Finglay just took it like a champ, with arms crossed. He looked at them curious. Is this your final move, a palm? There was not even a skill behind it. There's no way you can harm me with that. You've lost your last chance. Ha ha ha, thank you Sir Huangpu for giving us these free moves, but this palm is only half of it. With an odd smile, the leader made a sign. The other 2 followed. Huangpu Finglay was puzzled. Do they want to use some super secret art? But why did that sign feel so familiar? He shot his eyes wide open and cried, self-destruction. This is our last move, death before dishonor, the women grinned. Huangpu Finglay was scared silly. With the 3 radiant stage experts so close and primed to blow, not even imperial tyrant body art could bear it. He used all his yuan qi to unleash a golden glow and make the trio fly. Too little, too late. With one last smile, to Huangpu Finglay's frantic look, 3 earth-shattering explosions wrecked the place. Boom, the huge balls of flame swallowed the sky, shaking up everything. Even with the array in place, Drifting Flowers City was now in ruins. Yan Bogong ducked just as the tide of flames passed him. One careless twitch could burn his head clean off. Once the cool wind set in again, the people looked shell-shocked. The mountains around them were now flatlands while the trees floated around as ashes. The bone-tempering disciples had their meridians crushed and died. Maybe they wanted a closer look at death, or just sheer bad luck. They stuck their neck out to see the glorious apocalyptic flame, only to have half their body burnt, testament to their folly. Yan Bogong's heart was shaking all over. What a frightening explosion. And that came out of 3 radiant stage experts' self-destruction. Then what about the person at their core, their High Venerable? He looked around in panic and shouted, High Venerable, are you all right? Bam. A black figure slammed the ground. Yan Bogong rushed over to see Huangpu Finglay's face burnt black, laying there broken and robbed of any air of superiority. PFF, blood spurted out and Huangpu Finglay wheezed. Looking around at the faces, he rejoiced at his new lease on life. High Venerable, you're amazing to come out alive from that. You're the only one in Tianyu to pull it off. Yan Bogong gave a thumbs up and a good ass-licking. Huangpu Finglay had no time for his gibberish, frowning. Why did they do it? You mean those Drifting Flowers Edifices Venerables? Yan Bogong smiled. Who cares? They couldn't beat you, so they decided to drag you down as well. But they never thought even this couldn't kill you. You're still in one piece. He, they died for nothing, the idiots. No, Huangpu Finglay shook his head weakly. A cultivator that has reached the radiant stage would cherish his life above everything. They would never throw their lives away unless it is the very last resort. They could have used the Drifting Flowers Edifices array to stall me and escape. So why? Yan Bogong paused, pig-headed. Perhaps, that's putting it mildly. Huangpu Finglay barely propped his body. Drifting Flowers Edifices, a women's domain, hasn't survived all these years on empty words alone. Huangpu Finglay limped away. Yan Bogong asked, High Venerable, aren't we attacking? Of course we are, fool, but that's your problem. I need to dress my wounds. Can't you see I can't even fly and have a busted leg? Glaring back, Huangpu Finglay cursed. But he didn't leave without a final piece of advice. Don't get careless. Drifting Flowers Edifices women's can't be underestimated. Yan Bogong nodded, exchanged a glance with Lin Rufeng. Looking at your wretched state, we can glean that much. Those they looked back at Drifting Flowers City and felt a headache coming. Without a radiant stage to support them, how many years would it take to break through? The Regent Estate's experts only acted as support, leaving the heavy lifting to them. The only helper, Huanpu Finglay, was now away on medical leave. Boom, the explosion shook all of Drifting Flowers City. Houses crumbled and turned to dust. Drifting Flowers Edifice's main hall had calm and wise women handling everyday's affairs, but they were now crying in panic. Grandmother, pale and weak, lay on the floor, rocking to the explosion's rhythm. The odd bump into the ground of her head had her frowning and opening her eyes. Aunt Tao, grandmother's awake, Peony Overseer perked up. Drifting Flowers Edifice's head alchemist, Tao Danyang, rushed over. Grandmother's injury is stable, but what? Peony Overseer asked. Tao Danyang sighed, removing the rainbow cloud palm's poison is beyond these wrinkled hands' ability. They alone hold the antidote. What do we do now? Peony Overseer asked. Pil King Hall is right outside our gates. Are we supposed to go out there and grab one to force an antidote out of them? Everyone shook their heads from how powerless they were. Pil King Hall was already strong by themselves, but now in the three-house coalition, it would be even tougher for Drifting Flowers Edifices to deal with them. Going out now was plain suicide. Iris Overseer smiled. Peony, don't be nervous. Pil King Hall had a monopoly on the Rainbow Cloud Palm's antidote until now. Did you forget how Zhuo Fan deciphered the antidote at the 100-pill meeting, curing grandmother, Aunt Tao, and many of our sisters? Even their top alchemist, Vicious Pil King, is now under the Luo clan, and with him as an ally, there's no need to fear any poison. Yeah, we just have to get in touch with them and grandmother will be fine. Aunt Tao nodded, relieved. She felt like having Zhuo Fan as an ally was the best thing that ever happened to them. The rainbow cloud palm squeezing on them every minute of every hour was now a thing of the past. Peony Overseer pouted, her face unnatural, but that prick stole our precious heirloom. How can we trust him? It will be great if he returns it, but if he doesn't, grandmother's faint voice trailed off weakly. Then she came to a decision and spoke firmly. All we can do is move on. If Drifting Flowers Edifices is to survive, we need to compromise. We need allies like him the most right now. What is the point of getting the treasure back only to find a city filled with corpses? All became pensive. Their respect for grandmother was growing. Grandmother had earned the respect of all houses for a reason. And for the same reason, she kept Drifting Flowers Edifices afloat all this time. As a house lord, she had to have the mind and eyes that went beyond the scope of the common man, with vaulting ambition and steel resolve. Always thinking long-term and never nitpicking on the details. And in their final hour, Drifting Flowers Edifices needed allies the most. They couldn't throw away Zhuo Fan over some Bodhai root. It was the same as cutting off one's legs. So you want to lean on Luo clan? Peony Overseer pouted, still against it. Zhuo Fan stole their stuff, yet they still turned to him for help. Wasn't that like asking a thief for asylum? Drifting Flowers Edifice's name would be dragged through the mud, her sisters as well. Grandmother smiled in reply. Yes, Zhuo Fan had made us a promise back when he was in trouble. We can rely on him. Now that he is one of the big players, he is our support. It's all just a repaid investment, ha ha ha. Peony, you usually go off the deep end and are frank. You are kind at heart, but not suited to be the edifice lord. As the one bearing the responsibility of Drifting Flowers Edifices, one has to be flexible and set your gaze beyond the present moment. A useless thing like reputation will only drag us down. Grandmother shook her head. Peony Overseer blushed, knowing her own defects as well. What was that large noise just now anyway? Grandmother turned to the rest. They all shook their heads. Someone burst in tears. Grandmother, overseers, the three venerables. What about the venerables? Grandmother asked frantically. Sniffing, the girl wailed. The venerables self-destructed to deal with Huanpu Finglay. What? Grandmother shuddered, then spat blood, tears streaking her face. Grandmother. The others panicked. Grandmother waved them off. It was my mistake to lead them to their doom. If only I heeded the Luo clan's warnings and retreated, they would have been alive and wouldn't have died in vain. Grandmother, the only one to blame is Zhuo Fan. He betrayed our trust first. We could never overlook this transgression, Peony Overseer advised. Grandmother shook her hand, talking after a pause. The three venerables' death is on me. But we can't bicker over Drifting Flowers Edifice's calamity. What about Huanpu Finglay? What's going on outside? Grandmother, Huanpu Finglay is badly hurt and has withdrawn from battle. Yan Bogong and the others are attacking our barriers while sisters are pushing them back. They can hold on for the time being. Regent Estate's High Venerable, what about the Regent Estate itself? Grandmother asked. The girl shook her head. Grandmother, there's no sign of them. That means Regent Estate isn't involved. Grandmother squinted. Overseers, join the defenses and never attack, only resist. Guard Drifting Flowers edifices and wait for our allies. Understood. Everyone bowed. Meanwhile, Yan Bogong, Lin Rufeng, and Yuanshan attacked the city for 3 months. Although three houses united was a force to reckon with, Drifting Flowers edifices' defenses were like a steel wall. Even after all this time, they had only punched through 26 barriers, with dozens more to go. How many years would that take? For God's sake, I should have just brought all my venerables. Lin Rufeng panted, peering over the city and at the mountain in the distance. What the hell is Regent Estate and those rotten divine dragons doing? They decided on this attack, yet now they are taking the backseat while we risk our necks. What's so scary about Drifting Flowers edifices anyway? If we'd all pitch in, it'd be over and done with by now. Calm down. Yuanshan advised. Sir Leng said we're baiting the aid. While we have Drifting Flowers edifices on the ropes, they'll attack the reinforcements. I heard Veiled Dragon Pavilion and Sword Marquis Abode's forces have been beaten back many times already. Humph Regent Estate can handle those guys with a modicum of effort. What's the point of having all of them in the back as support? Lin Rufeng mocked. Yan Bogong shook his head. House Lord Lin, don't say that. They aren't much hassle, true, but what if Zhuo Fan comes? Rumble. Lin Rufeng's face fell and his voice was cut off. On the day of Luo clan's ceremony, they all witnessed its power and glory. Besides the abomination dubbed Zhuo Fan, they had 10 elders, each stronger than the next, violent and savage. Not even Regent Estate wanted to pick a fight with them. Lin Rufeng waved his hand. Let's just keep attacking. Yuanshan and Yan Bogong chuckled inside. Yuanshan slapped his chest in full confidence. Worry not, the city will soon fall. My 3 venerables are coming in 2 days. With Radiant Stage experts clearing a path for us, their guarding array will be no obstacle. Yuanshan beamed with pride. Want to break Drifting Flowers City? Only we can do it. Yan Bogong snickered. With Valley Lord use home a wreckage, you don't need Radiant Stage experts to defend it. While our men are just too homesick to leave, ha ha ha. Lin Rufeng mocked. Yuanshan's face fell. It cut him deep each time he was reminded of the ruined Hell Valley. What he wanted was to get merit in this battle and earn Regent Estate's compensation. But Lin Rufeng and Yan Bogong, the bastards, had to poke where it hurt. Humph, you'll see. Zhuo Fan will take good care of your shacks just as well. We'll see who's laughing then. Yuanshan's mind was filled with malicious curses. Sir Leng, any updates? In a quiet little room, Leng Wucheng was sitting at a desk deep in thought when Huangpu Tianyuan came in laughing. With Drifting Flowers edifices under siege for 3 months now, small fries keep on coming. It's so boring, when will a big fish bite anyway? Sir Leng, what do you reckon that big fish is planning right now? After a bow, Leng Wucheng sighed. Estate Lord, our plan and reality do not match, I'm afraid. Where exactly? Huangpu Tianyuan asked. Leng Wucheng spoke. Our main plan to bait the aid involved faking an attack on Drifting Flowers edifices to draw Zhuo Fan out. With the State Lord's 9 dragons diamond body, we'd catch Zhuo Fan by surprise and finish him off in one swift blow. However, what? Huangpu Tianyuan asked impatiently. Leng Wucheng shook his head. The way it has played out is that we've fallen for it. What, how? Huangpu Tianyuan jerked. Leng Wucheng said, by being a borrowed knife. Unsettled, Huangpu Tianyuan eyed him. Leng Wucheng explained, it may be that we predicted Zhuo Fan's aim all wrong. His vision is far wider. We thought he would protect his allies to secure his power. But with Drifting Flowers edifices under siege for months, yet there being no sign of Luo clan, it goes to show that he has abandoned them. If anything, he was counting on us to destroy Drifting Flowers edifices for him. What? Huangpu Tianyuan trembled. To what end? What does he get from this? Humph, plenty. Leng Wucheng snickered. A man without roots is the easiest to sway. Even if Drifting Flowers edifices survived and he won in the end, Drifting Flowers edifices, being who it is, will remain only an ally. But when Drifting Flowers edifices falls, he'd accept the women with open arms, getting them on his side and leaving only the world for the taking. Such a cunning plan, what a twisted mind. Even I could only deduce this from the current state. Zhuo Fan is a truly diabolical mastermind. By my calculations, he not only wants us to destroy Drifting Flowers edifices, but all his allies. He will then take them in like a good Samaritan, and they, in their moment of gratitude and weakness, will accept the conversion wholeheartedly. Even Leng Wucheng felt cold sweat on his brow at this point. Zhuo Fan's insidious ploys never left room for errors, using cloak and daggers to stab at his own allies through his enemies. Even Leng Wucheng had fallen for such a mastermind's devious schemes. Zhuo Fan is the most dangerous ally so far. Huangpu Tianyuan panicked inside. Veiled Dragon Pavilion was the first to care for the Luo clan, and Zhuo Fan once had close ties with Chu Qingcheng. Is he that dead inside to throw everything aside and plot against them? That's what makes Zhuo Fan such an abomination. Leng Wucheng sighed. A man of ambition only looks at things from a perspective and never lets some platonic relationships drag him down. Huangpu Tianyuan nodded, but how did he know we'd attack Drifting Flowers edifices with the 3 houses? Ha ha ha, estate lord, do you remember when we planned to divide our forces into 3 and take them all down at the same time? Who was it that proposed we attack one house at a time and bait the aid? Leng Wucheng's eyes glinted. Huangpu Tianyuan shouted, Fang Qiubai, him indeed. Leng Wucheng nodded. I didn't think much of it at the time, figuring flushing Zhuo Fan out and removing him from the picture at the earliest was better. But now, ha ha ha, it has been the imperial family playing us all along. The emperor's involved too? Yes. Leng Wucheng patted the shocked Huangpu Tianyuan. Huangpu Tianyuan was still finding it odd. Doesn't the emperor want us to eliminate Zhuo Fan? Why is he on his side now? Was that ruckus at the palace all an act for the regent estate's eyes? Not at all. Estate lord is overthinking things. Back when Zhuo Fan and the emperor had a falling out, the emperor wanted to get rid of Zhuo Fan, but also of us. Leng Wucheng explained with a smile, ha ha ha, here's what I think happened. The emperor had divine dragons come to us as helpers, but used them to find our plan of attack on Drifting Flowers edifices and gave it over to Zhuo Fan. With the prick's cunning nature, he knew that standing on the side and taking a beating will get his allies wiped out. So he attacked Hell Valley. The emperor caught on to his action and had the divine dragons propose the baiting the aid plan, not to draw Zhuo Fan out, but to give him time to ruin Pill King Hall and Merry Woods. The imperial family's master plan isn't to have one of us 2 destroyed, but to have both of us on our last leg at our weakest. Leng Wucheng got the gist of it, more or less, except for one thing. It was Zhuo Fan's intelligence network that got wind of their plans, and it was him cueing the emperor in, leaving the imperial family to be one step behind. Zhuo Fan had complete control of the situation across the board, something the imperial family never intended to happen. But it wasn't something one could hold against unwanted contriver, since the human pillars were a super-secret art from Zhuo Fan's endless bag of tricks. Even if he smashed his head and combed through the gray matter, he'd still not figure it out. Figuring as much as he did was quite commendable, though. Sighing, Huangpu Tianyuan nodded. Damn the emperor and his sharp mind. Just how can I take advantage of you? What's the point in staying here then if Zhuo Fan is a no-show? Men, everyone go back to Drifting Flowers edifices and capture it in one move. We'll then handle Veiled Dragon Pavilion and Sword Marquise abode the same way. We just have to be faster than Zhuo Fan. Catch him when he's down, then take the emperor's head. Not so fast. Leng Wucheng said, Estate lord, we have to follow the emperor's intent, or instead of watching from the sidelines, he'd see Zhuo Fan weak and help him from the shadows. That's the worst outcome for us. What's there to fear? With my 9 dragons' diamond body, the world, it is for this reason that we need to exercise caution. Leng Wucheng cut him off. Your secret is to deal with Zhuo Fan. If it comes out now, he'll place some counters and we'll have an even harder time dealing with him. Estate lord, don't you want to take in these vagrants? Huangpu Tianyuan showed a wide smile. Sir Leng, you mean? Zhuo Fan's scheme is groundbreaking and ingenious. Why not apply the same idea to our side? With a sneaky smile, Leng Wucheng continued, he wants us to help him get his allies in line, and that's what we'll do. But won't he help us getting our own allies as well? Hell Valley's people are already homeless and can only turn to Regent Estate for shelter. That only leaves Pill King Hall and Merry Woods. Estate lord only needs to seize this chance to subdue them and their lands for the future. Isn't it a shame to let such a prime chance go? Huangpu Tianyuan cackled. Sir Leng, you're saying we should thank Zhuo Fan for giving us such a wonderful idea. We'd never thought such an ingenious trick can get us all the 7 houses and without any bad blood between us either. Ha ha ha, you should show your thanks by leaving his corpse intact. Leng Wucheng smiled. Huangpu Tianyuan laughed. After all the talks, nothing had changed. Regent Estate's experts were still lazily waiting for the baiting the aid to catch something, and Huangpu Tianyuan's 3 allies were still working their asses off attacking Drifting Flowers City. A few more days later, however, Drifting Flowers City was still holding solid, but with heavy casualties. 7 overseers had died as well. The defenses wouldn't hold for long if this kept up. Whoosh. In their moment of great despair, a green jade slip flew into Grandmother's hand. Grandmother laughed. It's from our allies. We're saved. Hope blossomed. Grandmother scanned the jade slip and froze. With a crack, the jade scattered into pieces on the floor. What's wrong, Grandmother? Everyone cried. Grandmother sighed. It is a message from Pavilion Lord Long. Regent Estate has indeed assisted in our siege, but instead of helping Hell Valley and the others, it is stopping our reinforcements. Pavilion Lord Long's side has suffered heavy casualties and was forced into retreating. We're on our own. What? The women shook their heads in grief. They had held on so far, hanging on to the hope that help was on the way. But with even their support under heavy attack, they had sunk into the pits of despair. They could hold on for just a few short months before they would be breached. Drifting Flowers' edifices was hanging by a thread. Everyone sighed, feeling death closer than ever. Grandmother's eyes flashed with determination. Overseers, split into 5 teams and break out tonight. We will meet again at Flying Cloud City 1,000 miles away. Grandmother, I know this is dangerous, with a high chance of being wiped out, but it's better than sitting around for the axe to drop. We still have dozens of defenses in effect. They will never expect us to make such a risky move. Breaking through is our best bet. If we wait any longer, they'll raise their guard. Grandmother squinted. The others nodded. It was the most dangerous, yet most promising course of action. Waiting any longer would have even this chance robbed off of them. The overseers bowed. Understood, Grandmother. The moon hung high in the night sky, with a seldom cloud marring its glow every now and then. Outside Drifting Flowers City, the disciples of the 3 houses withdrew after a long day of work, leaving a few hundred guards. One overseer took its 1,000 disciples under the cover of the night outside the city. They moved fast, like panthers, and were upon the unsuspecting guards in seconds. Ah, Een, the guard's cry was cut short at the swipe of a Drifting Flowers edifice's disciple's blade across his neck. His eyes were still wide as he hit the pool of blood on the ground. Drifting Flowers edifice's disciples split in teams of 3-5 members, robbing the lives of guards and ensuring the success of this mission. Slip-up was bound to happen at some point regardless. A guard threw a jade slip into the air. The jade slip exploded in a shower of light, revealing the shadows in its glaring display. The overseer shouted, "We've been spotted. Sisters, forget everything and just attack. Charge!" The 1,000 disciples rushed together towards the garrison of the 3 houses as they shouted. The house lords were out at the first sign of warning, guiding their disciples. Seeing it was just 1,000 people coming at them, they relaxed. That's it, these broads make a night raid with 1,000 warriors. That's not nearly enough to get us warmed up, ha ha ha, Lin Rufeng disdained. Yan Bogong nodded with a smile. True, with only some average overseers in the lead, what can they do even if they reach us? Since when did that Chu Bijan shrew turn senile? You should send more people if you want to attack. These few are of no use, and what if they have different plans? I intend to capture an overseer and wring it out of her. This'll be some nice and easy merit. Yuanshan's eyes glinted. The other 2 nodded inside. Yuanshan sure makes sense. They both charged as well. With their level, this would be a walk in the park. Yuanshan snickered in the back, carefree. Bam, Lin Rufeng was the first to arrive with his uncanny speed. A single palm had the overseer flying and heavily wounded. Lin Rufeng snickered, glancing at Yan Bogong coming over with cocksure attitude. Ha ha ha, it looks like the credit is all mine. Humph, of course it comes easy to you when you run faster than a hare. As for how much credit you get, it remains to be seen. Yan Bogong smiled. Lin Rufeng brushed his remark off, grabbing the woman. Merit is merit either way. Ha ha ha, lass, why are you attacking at night? The overseer merely held her head high, watching the moon. Her 1,000 disciples were defeated as well, most dead, others captured, and very few escaped. Lin Rufeng's hand tightened and flooded her body with yuan qi. The woman's brow creased and sweated from the unimaginable pain, but she still didn't make a peep. Humph, you sure are tough. Let me relieve you of a hand first, Lin Rufeng shouted. The woman was still moon-gazing. Lin Rufeng was pissed, but Yan Bogong stopped him before he got to any cutting. Ha ha ha, House Lord Lin, this girl is an overseer. Standard interrogation won't work on her. I have with me 100 ant pill. It will feel like thousands of ant bites all over the body. Such pain and torment is worse than death. Can I give it a try? Humph, you rotten geezer. You're stealing my thunder. It was obvious to Lin Rufeng's what the old man's game was, but it wasn't like he was getting anything out of the stubborn lass either. If by some chance the info she had was priceless, delaying it would have Regent Estate yell Marywood's ears out. Lin Rufeng sighed and handed her over. Fine, let's see if your 100 ant pill is as good as you say. Prepare to be amazed, ha ha ha. Yan Bogong forced her jaw open and threw the pill in. The woman twitched and jerked and started sweating harder than ever, but she still kept her lips tight, even chewing them to the point of bleeding. Ha ha ha, it must hurt like hell. Stinging, itching, tingling, and let's not forget the excruciating pain. With a cackle, Yan Bogong approached her ear. No one can stand it more than 2 hours. You better fess up and I'll relieve you of your torment. Why must you be so stubborn? Talk, why are you attacking? The woman gnashed her teeth harder and her face contorted. Yan Bogong wasn't going anywhere, just looking at her in confidence. Then help yourself to a world of hurt. Just let me know when the going gets too tough, all right? I'll be waiting, ha ha ha. Yan Bogong spoke like a winner. Yuanshan at the side had a lazy and vague smile. An hour into the torture, the woman was red like a ripe tomato and could no longer take it. Give it to me now, I'll talk, I'll tell you everything. Yan Bogong glanced at Lin Rufeng in pride and threw a pill in her mouth. The woman calmed down while shivering. Ha ha ha, now talk. Don't think for a second that I'll believe you if you say you came to capture our camp with so few people. What's your aim? Speak the truth, Yan Bogong smiled. The woman looked at the sky and showed a pleased smile. Ha ha ha, it's too late, you're too late. What's going on? Talk, Yan Bogong frowned. The woman mocked him. I led my team here knowing full well that all we'll find is death. Our mission was quite simple really, to kill the guards and fake a raid and once discovered stall. Grandmother and the rest have already left. You're too late in catching up, ha ha ha. What, this was a diversion? Yan Bogong shuddered and cursed. Damn that bitch and her schemes. That hag acted all dignified for so long and we never thought she'd sacrifice an overseer, to save herself no less. Humph, you really showed me, Lady of Steel. Yan Bogong fumed under the woman's sneer. Lin Rufeng was already thinking about how to explain this to Regent Estate. Only Yu Wanshan had a prideful look and a crafty grin. The sun's morning rays spilled on the land, dispelling the darkness and promising hope. In a gloomy ravine, Grandmother took her group to a creek for a drop of water. They all looked weary and tired, with Grandmother having it worse due to the poison. Grandmother, here's some water. One disciple showed consideration for her. Grandmother patted the child's head and looked to the east heartbroken. I heard from last night's 5 teams, Gelder Rose's team was spotted. For the sake of our journey to safety, they drew the enemy and must have died by now. I have let them down. Grandmother, Overseer Gelder Rose is like all of us, willing to lay down their life for Drifting Flowers edifices. She would never blame you, Peony Overseer appeased. Grandmother shook her head in tears. Whoosh, Iris Overseer flashed in front of them. Her face turned heavy looking around as she spoke. Grandmother, the way forward is blocked and they're now searching for us on their way over here. What? Grandmother cried and shook. If not for someone holding her steady, she would have collapsed by now. Did they foresee our plan to escape? How? Grandmother asked incredulously. Who is coming after us? Iris Overseer replied. Grandmother, their group is made of youths led by Hell Valley's Grand Elder and Fifth Elder. Did Hell Valley guess our attempt to flee? Ever since Yugiki died, they've never had such guile. Shaking her head, Grandmother felt bitter regret festering inside. I've completely lost. Back in Drifting Flowers edifices, they could still hold on for a couple of months with their defenses, but here, turned into stragglers, they stood no chance against any group. Their escape was a bold gamble. Win and Drifting Flowers edifices would one day rise from the ashes. Lose and their deaths would be all the more tragic. It was quite obvious now what hand she had played. I have been farsighted all my life only to make mistakes over and over at the end, ruining Drifting Flowers edifice's legacy. I am ashamed to meet my ancestors in the underworld, Grandmother cried. The others sighed as well, hanging their desolate faces. On a hill behind them, footsteps sounded that had everyone on edge. All the eyes looked over tense and frightened. Meanwhile, Hell Valley's army of thousands was combing through the area, zeroing in on Grandmother's location. Between Grand Elder and Fifth Elder was a man in gray, Yu Ming. Taking in the lush vegetation, Yu Ming's eyes flashed. Yu Ming, you've grown so much in skill over the years. I still can't believe that old hag would leave the city and its defenses and make for such a daring attempt. We never would have had such an easy time trapping so many of them if it weren't for you. I wonder how much merit will this get us. Ha ha ha, Grand Elder praised. Elder nodded. Ha ha ha, Yu Ming is turning out to resemble the 7th Elder more and more. No, I do not want to become my master. I want to surpass him. Yu Ming sighed. Grand Elder, has Grandmother been caught? Grand Elder shook his head. In their attempt to flee, we've captured 4 teams, but neither had that old hag among them. Perfect, Yu Ming nodded. He gave the signal to stop, peering at a hill in front of them. Wait here while I look ahead. Yu Ming, why is it that you always go ahead? Are you trying to take all the credit? Fifth Elder asked. Yu Ming smiled. I am only an advisor, Fifth Elder. How can I take down thousands of people by myself and steal your credit? I only want to check for signs of them passing through here and their direction. With all of us going ahead, it will mask all the clues. Old Fifth, you're so petty, Grand Elder glared. Yu Ming earned the most merit in the first place with his plan. Why would he steal ours then? He, I was just messing around. Don't mind it, Yu Ming. Fifth Elder scratched his head. Yu Ming nodded, rushing up the hill. What he saw beyond the hill had him wide-eyed. Grandmother and her people were tense but ready to fight to the last. The only choice now was to go down fighting. Yet Yu Ming made a signal for them to stay quiet. They all looked stumped. Yu Ming turned around and shouted to Grand Elder, Drifting Flowers Edifice's team passed through here. They must have gone in that direction. You might catch them if you give chase. Yu Ming's finger picked a random spot. Grand Elder was overjoyed and led his men into a chase. With their trust in Yu Ming and the hill separating them, they had no clue their quarry was just over yonder. They were so close yet oh so far. The women were stumped, looking tensed at Yu Ming. Why would someone from Hell Valley help them? With the army behind him gone, Yu Ming said, everyone from Drifting Flowers Edifices, east and west are blocked. Only north and south have been searched already and there's no one there. But I highly recommend going south. In those tall mountains and dense forest, it's easy to hide. Yuming left. One moment, grandmother cried, "Thank you, sir, for your timely rescue. But why did you help us?" Yuming mocked, "Help you? Ha ha ha, you're rich. It's never worth betraying my house over some strays. Just send this message to Zhuo Fan. He owes me one." Yuming flew after Hell Valley's men. Grandmother felt bitter and despondent. Zhuo Fan had cast such a huge shadow that even the enemy had people hoping to get on his good side. The youth just now wouldn't have helped them otherwise. They all felt sour at the revelation. Grandmother was known to all houses for 100 years, yet her name had less weight than an upstart. Who'd have thought Zhuo Fan's name can make one betray his house? How could we be so different? No one knew that the true mastermind behind their current plight was none other than their savior, Yu Ming. He did it all for Zhuo Fan. Not that Zhuo Fan asked him, of course, but Zhuo Fan's handiwork had left him with no other choice. Ever since Zhuo Fan raised Hell Valley, the guy was homeless. It hit him the instant the news reached him. Zhuo Fan took care of Hell Valley to force him to renounce his unflinching trust for his house. As long as Hell Valley stood, he was one of them, and betraying one's king never came easy. But with his home up in smokes, Hell Valley was gone for good. Even though Yu Wanshan took his elders to follow Regent Estate to attack Drifting Flowers edifices, and Regent Estate would never entertain the notion of helping them rebuild, deciding on a far better approach to absorb them. As it stood, this vagrant who used to be at a three-way crossroads found only two paths forward, Regent Estate and Zhuo Fan. Under these circumstances, he had put aside the good of the house and was putting himself first. Breaking Drifting Flowers edifices was gaining credit in front of Regent Estate, while letting Drifting Flowers edifices go was doing Zhuo Fan a solid. No matter which of these two behemoths ended up ruling the lands, he had a way out. This was his plan to be a double agent. I can't help but wonder who'll be my lord in the end, ha ha ha. Yu Ming shook his head. The women heeded Yu Ming's advice and escaped the four houses' siege and bumped into their rescue team. Grandmother Steward Zhuo has had us waiting for you here for ages. Qiu Yanhai cupped his hands. The women got startled thinking the enemy was upon them, but on a closer look, it was only Luo clan's power couple and thus they breathed easier. Bowing, grandmother spoke, "Elders, it's so good to see you in this hour of desperate need. Our houses are allies after all. It's only natural to help." Qiu Yanhai replied in kind, then turned serious. "Grandmother, there's something I don't understand. We've clearly given you ample warning about Regent Estate's assault, yet why were you so passive?" Grandmother and the overseers flushed, hanging their heads in shame. "These elders are clearly hinting at our mistrust in the Luo clan, that we stalled making a decision for so long. That was like calling them petty and suspicious, but at least they did rescue them." With a cough, grandmother fought through the awkwardness. "To be honest, I've been in seclusion for so long and the information was left to the others. They were too shallow in their thinking and didn't take it seriously that the Regent Estate would attack. When I came out, I was beset with enemies at the gates and it was already too late. I am truly ashamed." Ahihihem, grandmother coughed with a red face. It was a first for her to tell such an obvious lie in front of everyone and to shift the blame on her girls. It only made her more ashamed. What other choice was there? She couldn't just come clean and say it was an honest mistake on her part. It had cut away at the house's trust. With how they had turned into strays, they couldn't afford to push away Luo clan's help. "Oh, I see," Qiu Yanhai and Zhu Qingjian said while beaming inside. Zhuo Fan had called it ever since he got Drifting Flowers Edifice's call for help. And these two were obviously clued in as well. Just that, to complete Zhuo Fan's master plan of adding Drifting Flowers edifices to the Luo clan, these two had to rein in the teasing, lest they ruin the demonic steward's scheme. So they could only laugh inside, nodding at the hag's lame excuse, but they couldn't wipe that silly grin off their faces. Grandmother figured out on the spot that the two were in on her difficulties and turned away from those taunting stares. "Humph, you don't know how to take help at face value, so you suspected our info. Hee, look who's down in the dumps now." Grandmother felt bitter inside. Peony Overseer was outraged. "Since you knew about the attack on us for so long, why didn't you come help earlier? Were you waiting for us to be destroyed before acting? What kind of an ally are you? Girlie, we wouldn't be here in the first place otherwise." Qiu Yanhai was a radiant stage expert. He showed class to the women on behalf of Zhuo Fan, but would he let a profound heaven overseer just talk back to him? Grandmother mediated. "Elder Q, please calm down. Peony is just so brash. Please don't mind her." Grandmother then chastised. "Peony, Elder Q has come from afar to help us, so the least you could do is show some consideration. Apologize, humph, screw apologies. If their rescue is real, why are there so few of them and without even Zhuo Fan? They have no intention to help us clearly," Peony Overseer shouted. Qiu Yanhai snickered in rage. Ignorant lass, what does a bunch of thoughtless broads like you know of Steward Zhu's intricate planning? When he received your plea for help, Steward Zhu knew you'd never look at him the same way for taking your Bodhai route or believe his messages. Steward Zhu even warned us not to say this, or it would break the ties between the houses. But you've given me no choice. Humph, does that give him the right to steal our precious treasure? Peony Overseer didn't back down even against a radiant stage expert. Grandmother kept on pulling her, but it was no use. These two are with Luo clan now, but they're still known as monsters in Tianyu. How could you irk them? Confronting them here was the dumbest thing one could do. Qiu Yanhai clenched his fists. You listen here, girl. If not for Steward Zhu, I would have snapped your neck for this gross lack of respect. Qiu Yanhai's savage aura exploded and sent shivers down everyone's spine. Grandmother paled, pulling Peony Overseer behind her and glaring at her to keep her trap shut. They had barely gotten out alive from one siege and were now about to find their end at their own allies' hands over a petty squabble. They are stronger than everyone here, yet you're still nagging? Grandmother sighed, feeling like giving Peony Overseer a good ass-kicking. It's been so long, yet your temper has never mellowed. We may even die from it. They all gulped with fear, watching Qiu Yanhai on edge. Zhu Qingjian diffused the heavy mood with a smile, pulling Qiu Yanhai over. Ha ha ha, we're all on the same side. Why must we bicker? Right, Grandmother? Yes, Elder Zhu is totally right. Grandmother was quick to grab the lifeline, bowing to Qiu Yanhai. Elder Qiu, forgive me. I have failed to teach her properly. It is all my fault, and I ask that Elder Qiu restrain his anger. Grandmother's bow was real low, her Lady of Steel vibe gone, leaving her with no prestige. This scene dawned on every overseer that they were now homeless and had lost all their pride. Qiu Yanhai snorted. Zhu Qingjian smiled. Big lug, they've already apologized. Show some consideration. Humph, Qiu Yanhai flared his nose, his chin still way out. Zhu Qingjian turned serious and kicked his ass, launching into a tirade. Now you're ignoring me, is that it? I thought I told you to show some consideration. Qiu Yanhai's cocky attitude was gone, looking at Zhu Qingjian like the victim. Then he waved it all off with a cough at grandmother. It's fine, I am not so petty, ahem. Perhaps it was all too awkward, but he coughed and raised his head again. Drifting Flowers Edifice's women were stunned, even grandmother. She snapped out of it with a thanks, though, while the women laughed inside. Ah, that explains it. The savage Elder Qiu is whipped. Zhu Qingjian came to grandmother and Peony Overseer with a smile. Don't mind him, his temper is always burning hot. It comes and goes just as fast. As for the Bodhai route, Steward Zhu forbade us from mentioning it. You will have to ask him when you meet. I wouldn't dare. Grandmother shook her head, relieved. Zhu Qingjian had her consideration in mind, guaranteeing Qiu Yanhai wouldn't mess with them later. The stress of having an 8th layer of radiant stage expert after you would give one nightmares. Also, Zhu Qingjian said, after hearing your plea for help, Steward Zhu split his forces. While we were here as relief, he led an attack on Pil King Hall. Pil King Hall? Why? Peony Overseer became a sourpuss again. But a glare from grandmother shut her up. Qiu Yanhai mocked, that's why I said you are ignorant. In his infinite wisdom, Steward Zhu knew of your siege and was thinking about how to assist. He foresaw Sword Marquis's abode and Veiled Dragon Pavilion coming to help, but getting pushed back with heavy losses. You thought Steward Zhu would lead his own people into a trap. I'll have you know that Steward Zhu is attacking Pil King Hall to get them to fall back. Reports on the attack on Pil King Hall should be coming in right about now, getting Regent Estate and the rest to come to its rescue. Wouldn't that relieve your city of the siege? We would then come in with our thousands of troops and coordinate with you in destroying them. A shame you couldn't even last that long. Drifting Flowers Edifices, people felt like crying. Blast it. We got out too soon. We should have stayed put a few more days and the relief would have come, saving Drifting Flowers Edifices. Grandmother felt sick to her stomach. It was a severe lapse in judgment. Only the power couple giggled inside at their mournful looks. Sighed Drifting Flowers Edifices almost got played to death, tossed between Steward Zhu and Regent Estate, but this is sure to guarantee their change of heart. You had his men capture the Drifting Flowers Edifices runaways and have earned great merit. A toast to you, Valley Lord Yu. In a wide courtyard, Regent Estate held a feast. Huangpu Tianyuan sat in the main seat, with the house lords and divine dragons at his sides. Huangpu Tianyuan looked flushed, laughing like the world was his oyster and toasting to Hell Valley's success. Yuanshan faked modesty. Huangpu Tianyuan, a state lord is too kind, it was my duty. Humph hypocrite. Yan Bogong and Lin Rufeng spat in their minds, eyeing him with ill intent. While the two of them were breaking their backs attacking the arrays, this guy had it easy casting his net and capturing the fleeing women, like a treacherous scum. The two wanted to tear into Yuanshan there and then. Yuanshan noticed their envy and turned around with a genial smile. It only worked to stoke their anger. What are you gloating about, you stray? You have no home. Oh, Valley Lord you, impressive move there, capturing drifting flowers edifices women. Only how exactly did you know what they were going to do? Leng Wucheng asked. Yuanshan bowed and reported, Sir Leng, the success isn't all mine, but the credit falls on my capable assistant. Yuanshan pointed at a gray robe. He is Hell Valley's new advisor, Yu Ming, the last disciple of the late Yugiki. Everyone turned to Yu Ming. Yugiki was the third greatest mind in Tianyu. Although a shame he fell at the hands of Zhuo Fan, he was quite the character. It went without saying that his disciple ought to at least live up to the name of his master. So everyone scrutinized Yu Ming, even Huangpu Tianyuan. Yu Ming bowed and took his seat again. Ling Wucheng sized him up, nodding. I see now why Hell Valley has moved with purpose and precision as of late. You have an advisor now. Ha ha ha, heroes always come young. Sir Yu Ming, by your guess, where do you think the fleeing drifting flowers edifices women turn to? To be quite frank, I do not know. However, knowing how stubborn grandmother is and going by her name as Lady of Steel, she isn't one to give up. Sooner or later, this day was bound to come, and she planned accordingly. I just never imagined she would be so bold as to break the siege while they still had some fight left in them. Capturing so many of her disciples was just a happy coincidence, although it is regrettable that grandmother and the overseers got away. Yu Ming sighed, my skill is still poor and many things escape me. Hope Estate Lord can forgive me. Yan Bogong and Lin Rufeng's faces twitched in tandem. Poser, my stars and garters, this punk is just like Yuanshan, bragging and faking humility. If you grabbed all those prisoners by mistake, does that mean the two houses who got Jack Squat should hang themselves? The two lords flared their nostrils and panted in rage. The siege of drifting flowers edifices had come up with the vagrant Hell Valley as the definite winner, something these two would never accept. Leng Wucheng smiled. Sir Yu Ming is so modest. How can it be a mistake when you have gained such merit? Ha ha ha. Huangpu Tianyuan nodded. Yu Ming, you truly take after your master. Hell Valley will go far with you by their side. Estate Lord is too kind. Yu Ming nodded. Yuanshan laughed in pride, believing rebuilding Hell Valley was just around the corner. Yan Bogong mocked. Humph, what future can a house with a robbed home ever have? What did you say? Yuanshan roared. Despite Hell Valley's heavy looks, Yan Bogong still had a look of contempt, turning his head in mockery. A whoosh announced the arrival of a green flash. Yan Bogong caught it. He read the jade carefully and paled. He dropped to his knees then and there and begged, Estate Lord Huangpu, I beg of you rescue Pil King Hall. What on earth has happened, Hall Lord Yan? Huangpu Tianyuan asked. Yan Bogong was erratic. Zhuo Fan is laying waste to Pil King Hall. My house's legacy is about to be turned to dust. Please, Estate Lord, send aid. What? They couldn't believe their ears. Zhuo Fan was now after Pil King Hall. Huangpu Tianyuan and Leng Wucheng looked shocked, but a glimmer of a smile was hidden in their eyes. Yuanshan enjoyed how the tables had turned, laughing carefree. He, talk about righteous retribution. Yan Bogong's eyes went red. Who told him to look down on another man's misfortune? He had no way to retort and looked pleadingly at Huangpu Tianyuan. Estate Lord Huangpu, you must help me. The entire Pil King Hall will be eternally grateful. Stroking his chin, Huangpu Tianyuan turned to Leng Wucheng. Leng Wucheng had come prepared, putting on a heavy look to match the mood. Zhuo Fan is too vile and insidious. Going in without a plan will set us up for disaster, falling for his devious ploy. To the best of my knowledge, we should instead attack his allies to force him away. We will attack Veiled Dragon Pavilion, and that will make him come to their rescue. Won't that relieve Pil King Hall? Zhuo Fan would have given Leng Wucheng the biggest thumbs up if he was here. Nice, you took the words right out of my mouth. The two were in tune with each other on this, using each other's actions as an excuse to further their personal agenda. Besides, I'm providing relief, just not directly. I have my best insider working on it as we speak, so you can't fault me for being a bad ally. The result. The 8 noble houses were falling one by one, leaving Luo clan and Regent Estate the only ones left standing. The Exodus had no choice but to rely on them, boosting their power. In short, all of them would be laid to waste, with only these 2 masterminds making out alive like bandits. Yu Ming saw through it as well and sighed inside. Now this is an overt plot. You may know every detail but would still be powerless to stop it. Each side has their own mastermind acting as coordinator, and the houses are the fodder. Be it an ally or an enemy, all of you will end up getting chewed and spit out. Seeing Yuanshan's condescending look for him, Yan Bogong sighed inside. He had finally figured out the difference between Yugiki, Leng Wucheng, and Zhu Chengfeng, skilled at working behind the scenes yet powerless in the face of an open scheme. Zhu Chengfeng, Zhuo Fan, Leng Wucheng, the emperor. All are true experts. Meanwhile, within 2 months, Zhu Qingjian finally got the thousands of drifting flowers edifices women back to Wingay City. Zhuo Fan had long since come out to welcome them, of course. Grandmother, as I live and breathe, I welcome you. Zhuo Fan spoke with hands behind his back. Grandmother bowed from dozens of meters away. I thank you, Steward Zhuo, for the assistance in Drifting Flowers Edifice's hour of need, for taking the time to come see us in person. I can't say how honored I am. How can you say that, Grandmother? We are allies. Of course I'd help you. It must be that Grandmother must still be hurting for what I did back then. Zhuo Fan sighed, it is all my fault for betraying your trust and for your suffering now. The more Zhuo Fan showed his remorse, the more guilty she felt. She had been suspicious of him from the first message that arrived and still blamed it on him leaving her, with an even worse feeling of making the wrong accusations. Peony Overseer had no such qualms. Talk then, why did you steal our heirloom? Peony, Grandmother glared. Zhuo Fan waved. I admit it was wrong stealing from you. I have no excuse. For that, I have let everyone down when you needed me the most. I didn't wish for this to happen. There's no need for excuses. Steward Zhuo, you have done nothing wrong. Zhu Qingjian intervened. Did you know that Regent Estate had young Miss and young Master in their clutches, forcing Steward Zhuo to commit such a vile act? What would you have done, Grandmother? Elder Zhu, you're out of line. Zhuo Fan berated, but Drifting Flowers Edifices got the full picture, that the bastards from Regent Estate had pushed him. Wooching that snake, Grandmother gnashed her teeth. Zhuo Fan sighed. Grandmother need not say that. They're not that vile. It was me who betrayed you despite our ties. It is all on me. The only one you can take it out on is also me. A man has to do what a man must. I can take it. Oh, no, Steward Zhuo, I am not so unwise as to take it out on you. I could never blame you now that I know the source of our misfortune. Elder Zhu is right. Anyone would have done it if it were them, including me. It is not within my right to judge you, Steward Zhuo. Lang Wucheng is even worse. I bet he came up with that despicable plan. He stands back while Regent Estate is put to work, forcing you into driving a wedge between us. Alas, I did fall for their ploy, doubting Luo clan and resulting in today's calamity. This is all my fault. Grandmother cried again. Zhuo Fan blinked. Whether Lang Wucheng aimed for this when forcing him to get the Bodhai route, he didn't know. But one thing he was certain of, Regent Estate was packed with experts, while Drifting Flowers Edifice's women are impulsive. Not to sound narcissistic, but the task of stealing their great treasure could and would only be done by yours truly. No one else had the skills nor the expertise to pull off such a heist. Yet Grandmother was here denouncing Regent Estate, and he couldn't agree more. Zhuo Fan patted her shoulder. Grandmother, now you know that it was all a trick. We must now stand more united than ever, to have nothing come between us again. Yes, Steward Zhuo, Drifting Flowers Edifices is now at its weakest, and we will do everything you ask of us, for vengeance and rebuilding Drifting Flowers Edifices. Grandmother nodded with conviction. Zhuo Fan did the same. You honor me with your deep sense of duty. I will never let you down. I noticed you are poisoned with the rainbow cloud palm. I will have someone give you the antidote. Thank you, Steward Zhuo. Grandmother bowed again, and the disciples helped her into the city. Zhuo Fan watched her go. Drifting Flowers Edifices, every member passed by him with apologies. At Peony Overseer's turn, she dodged his gaze and was no longer as fiery. Well, I'll be honest, Steward Zhuo, you sure know how to turn excuses into a high-class act. We could have just told them when we first met. Why drag it all out till now? I felt my ears explode hearing that Peony nag us on and on. With the coast clear, Zhu Qingjian looked at him puzzled. Zhuo Fan sighed. These ladies have just experienced a change of heart. And supplied with, Elder Zhu, do you know the difference between fetching and sending? Zhu Qingjian shook her head. Ha ha ha, like they say, easy come easy go. When someone gives you something, you don't give it much value. If you had used the same excuse from the start, no matter how good, they still wouldn't believe you. Only through their constant inquiry, forcing me to say it, did they take it as truth. And another thing, these excuses cannot come out from me. It has to be from a third party. That's why, Elder Zhu, thank you for your hard work along the way. Your ears must be in agony, ha ha ha. Zhuo Fan laughed. Drifting Flowers Edifices are in ruins, and my helping hand will be seen as God-sent. Now that all doubts are cleared as well, they will trust no one more than me. This trust will also affect the incoming houses as well, making the reform of the 3 houses a done deal. Elder Zhu, Regent Estate must be gunning for Veiled Dragon Pavilion and Sword Marquis abode now. Send them a word. Urge them to leave their homes and come to Luo clan. Homeless, they will only have us to rely on in the end. Yes, Steward Zhuo. Zhu Qingjian cupped her hands, but paused. Steward Zhuo, what is Sir's age again? Why do you look more and more like a sly old fox? Human yet vile at the same time, you still got the 3 destitute houses moved to tears from your generosity. Ha ha ha, it's not me who made them homeless, but society. Zhuo Fan said, the signs of conflict and chaos have appeared and I can't stop it. All I can do is stave off the anarchy at my gates. Elder Zhu, you will learn in due time. What I have in store for them is for their own good. While I want them integrated and re-educated, everyone else would have them purged. Zhu Qingjian just bobbed her clueless head. You're telling me it's common sense to thank the guy for wrecking your 1,000-year-old legacy. It makes total sense. The vile and deceitful steward Zhu sure acts quite a nobleman. Zhu Qingjian didn't understand, and it wasn't like Zhu Fan wanted her to. How is it going on Elder Q's end? Per your orders, I escorted Drifting Flowers Edifice's disciples, while the old guy is waiting for Regent Estate to vacate their city before they'll desecrate Drifting Flowers Edifice's ancestors and fetch you those bodies. Marvelous, Zhu Fan nodded, flying towards Blackwind Mountain, leaving a few more words. Elder Lei and Elder Yan have gone to take care of Pill King Hall. Wait for Elder Q to return and you two can go deal with Mary Woods. Yes, Zhu Qingjian bowed. Zhu Fan was back in the bunker, sending the Luo clan members and Yun clan people away. Rows upon rows of pits lined up in his sight according to the Taiji diagram. Each pit held 2 bodies in the middle, with spirit stones all around them. One looked haggard but desecrated, while the other was dried up and human-like yet did not have the feel of one, the human pillars. On either side of them were countless materials and a pair of spiritual beast wings. Besides this one, there were tens of thousands of pits just like it, but only a few pits had bodies in them. Petting the human pillar's head, Zhu Fan's eyes glinted. Around 10 years ago, I had Captain Pang train you, but you failed and turned cripple. I had Miss Lei teach you myriad breaths while she called me a cruel monster knowing what it did. But I believe letting you live your lives as cripples was the ultimate cruelty. That's why I told her that even if you live a life worse than death, I'd still have use of you. That time has come. You won't be the strongest, but will reach your peak all based on your talent. You will make the Empire see that you are no cripples, but great warriors. Hum waves came from the human pillars, something Zhu Fan picked up on only after he made certain signs. What's with the can I move questions? Ha ha ha, you will do more than that, more than your wildest dreams. You will become the Luo clan's strongest guards, Luo clan's pride and honor. Another wave of ripples told Zhu Fan of their joy. He was no goody two-shoes and planned on refining war puppets, devastating weapons of war. He'd use those ancestors and refine them with countless materials to make them as tough as diamonds. As for the souls to operate them, that was where these loyal human pillars of the Luo clan came in. Because they were dead to begin with, even with the human pillars controlling them, they wouldn't be able to cultivate and were thus dubbed human weapons. It was the only way to describe a cultivator who hadn't achieved his potential, but they were more than enough for a weak empire like Tianyu. Due to material limitations, he planned to make 1,000 of them to start with while letting nature take its course with the rest of the human pillars. But thanks to Kun Peng's hefty endorsement, he hoped to provide these children who sacrificed themselves for Luo clan's intelligence network a body they could move in. It was the best reward for their dedication and devotion. 1,000 war puppets were tough enough to fight the imperial family, but by the looks of things, that number was quickly gaining 2 more zeros. He could go toe-to-toe with Dugu Zhanshan's 3 million army if this kept up. That was why he said that all of the emperor's planning had this as its single flaw. How long would he keep hold of his throne once this army showed up and fought back Dugu's army? Ha ha ha, Zhu Fan's eyes flashed with cruelty as he shouted, "Open the gates of the world and let the clouds simmer, bringing down the heavy dark rain of war, so that the souls of the ancients may trample down on this land once more." Rumble the world itself was shaking as the sky blackened and lightning flickered. Ghastly black winds rose on Blackwind Mountain, kicking up a storm and swallowing everything. Wingay's city was on the verge of being swept up in it. Grandmother and the rest, having just found peace, were now panicking and were at a loss. When the world experienced change, someone was going against natural order, bringing about heavenly tribulation, just what was about to happen that would bring about destruction upon the living. SSS lightning snaked all over the corpses as the materials and the wings shone. They liquefied and entered the body, fusing together. It went just like what Zhu Fan had been through the first time, but way easier. Unlike the live refining he underwent, this time it was done on cold, dead corpses, unfeeling and uncaring about some trifling stuff like a destroyed soul. So Zhu Fan went big this time, 1,000 of them at the same time. With the job done, the bodies had a metallic sheen to them. Zhu Fan made a sign, change places and let the souls return. Bang, the human pillars exploded into a shower of blood and viscera. As the gruesome display splashed the ground with a sickening sound, it left behind faint flames of a spectral green glow. Zhu Fan made another sign and the flames entered the corpses. The corpses rattled and their eyelids shivered. Zhu Fan went through another sign and the corpses opened their mouths while he sent a pill in. Fuse and let spirits assume their rightful place. another sign, and the rumbling continued constantly as the sky had a hole in it spewing out a lightning shower. The mountains shook and Blackwind Mountain's arrays were close to crumbling. Wingate City's people paled, taking this unnatural phenomenon as the end of days coming to take everything they knew. Zhuo Fan shook with the earth, knowing this was heaven's way in showing its wrath, tribulation. Any items this world did not condone incited the heavenly tribulation to have them all purged, disintegrated. To guard all living things from destruction, decreed by the world's Tao. Zhuo Fan, while refining war puppets, was doing just that, going against heaven and bringing down the fury of the world on his head. But he had put too much work in this for a puny heavenly tribulation to come ruin it all. Since he was fully intent on refining the war puppets, he had a way to keep the war puppets alive, so to speak. The snap of his fingers echoed out. The 4 arrays started up and spewed out pitch-black mist all around Wingate City. The black mist wiggled and spun, swallowing all lightning strikes. Shroud the heaven's eye, the sun and the moon, 10th grade array, hidden shadow dragon. With a whistle, the black mist swept over the war puppets, covering them completely. When the black sea passed, Zhuo Fan saw a flat ground, with all the war puppets gone from the bunker and his sight. The rumbling in the heavens was on hold, having lost its target. The black clouds scattered, having nothing better to do. The land no longer shook and Wingate City returned to normalcy, but what had just transpired had every one of its citizens filled with a bad feeling. Sighing, Zhuo Fan wiped his brow, overjoyed. At least he had the foresight to use the new authority of the Luo house and mine his domain, gathering the spirit stones needed to set the 10th grade array up. Everything would have been wasted otherwise, with even his home base laid to ruins under heaven's tantrum. Heaven was quite generous, though. It would strike down with unbridled fury and unmatched force when anything foreign was taking shape, but will leave you be once it was done shaping up. Through the hidden shadow dragon, Zhuo Fan hid the war puppets until the fusing finished. Then he'd have nothing to worry about. The world shall soon follow, with 100,000 puppets sweeping the lands in every direction. Ah ha ha ha. Zhuo Fan looked around the bunker one last time before leaving. Only the world's odd phenomenon had left a mark on its people, yet they had no way of unraveling the mystery. This event was the start of a quirky habit, happening every other month. With Zhuo Fan keeping mum about it, none was the wiser and everyone became more puzzled than ever. It was like the world's ant flow was doing its thing. With no losses to worry about, no one bothered with it. This was how the next few months passed. Regent Estate used this time to lead its allies like an unstoppable flood towards Veiled Dragon Pavilion and Sword Marquis's abode. Learning from Drifting Flower's edifice's miserable ending, the two didn't resist and stuck to fleeing. Regent Estate's attack on the houses met hardly any resistance since the houses were long gone, taking less than a week to trample both of them. But unlike Drifting Flower's edifices, these 2 houses hadn't suffered many losses. While the wretched Zhuo Fan was the real big baller getting rich over this war. He robbed Pill King Hall and Marywood's Blind, tombs included. But didn't forget to include his precious allies as viable targets for some relaxed desecration. It went like this. Once Regent Estate knocked itself out after attacking a house, his team would swing by for some quality digging. The true winner in all of this was Zhuo Fan by far, getting close to 100,000 powerful corpses with bone-tempering stage as the minimum. He had already refined tens of thousands of puppets. Just that none of his allies were clued in on this little tidbit, following him like good little doggies and blaming it all on Regent Estate. It was safe to assume that a heavy war would break out if they found out who was behind all this. Up till now, the foundation of the 7 houses laid in rubble as 2 sides formed. All that remained was a cruel and hard war for supremacy. Blackwind Mountain's main hall was packed with leaders of every house. Zhuo Fan and Luo Yunhai represented Luo clan, taking the main seat, while the rest were their 3 allies. Zhuo Fan glanced over them. The imperial family is beset with inner and outer conflict, while the regent estate is running rampant across Tianyu. Both camps are at a breaking point. War is knocking and we can't avoid it. Then we don't. We've suffered the past 1,000 years at their hands and now they've even ruined our homes. Longju snorted. We didn't fall out all this time for the nation's sake. But now we have you as a brother, Luo clan, and together we can fight them. We have you to lead us to destroy them. It is the only choice left to us. Yeah, we'll destroy them, the others echoed. The disciples of the houses present were all homeless, runaways in the truest sense and form. When they had nothing left to lose, why would they shirk from this? And with victory promising to restore their lands, they were all for it. War was the answer and their thirst for it only grew. Zhuo Fan put his trademark evil grin on perfect. He held his hand up for silence. Be assured, friends, we understand your plight. Our Luo clan's ancestral teaching is all about being righteous and moral to our neighbor. You've all helped us when we were at our lowest. We never forgot your great generosity. Now that you all are in difficulty, Luo clan will step forth and bring you justice. This is my declaration of war. We will fight them to the end." Oh, fists were thrown into the air. Some sighed, praising Steward Zhu's loyalty and Luo clan's benevolence. Only Luo Yunhai turned somewhat pink, sweating buckets like every other Luo clan elder present. Granted, Luo clan's ancestral teaching was about righteousness, having heard Luo Yunhai and Luo Yuncheng talk about it. But ever since Zhuo Fan took helm, that word was crossed out and written off from Luo clan's vocabulary, replaced with a better and truer aim, like self-interest to start with. Zhuo Fan used it just now only as a tool, but selling it with his pretty speech and heartfelt act, everyone was inspired, driven, and filled with thirst for battle, to the point of giving their life for it. Funny enough, if it were plain righteousness, they might not be so keen on going along with Zhuo Fan. But with him being so despicable and vile to throw in some incentives for everyone, they were all in. Like Zhuo Fan once said, in this world where the strong ate the weak, going by righteousness alone would get one into a sorry dump, like the Luo clan when he found it. Understanding this, Luo Yunhai's eyes flashed and he rose. "Everyone, as the clan head of the Luo clan, I will draft the declaration of war to quell Regent Estate and give you all justice." With a dignified act and powerful voice, he drove an even stronger sense of camaraderie into their hearts. Zhuo Fan nodded inside. The kid grew up at last. Without darkness to back it up, light would be like dust in the wind. On the other side, Regent Estate already had its declaration of war ready, sending it to their final goal, Luo clan. The people cleared the room once the negotiations finished. Only Yu Ming stayed behind and Ling Wucheng smiled. "Sir Yu Ming, I heard you were close to the second prince. He trusts me completely." Yu Ming nodded. "Then please return to his side. We and Zhuge Chengfeng have an understanding in place, but when it comes to that old fox, we still need assurances and need to prepare a plan B. As we are about to go to war with Luo clan, there's nothing I would hate more than to have the imperial family stick its nose in it." Yu Ming squinted and grinned. "Ha ha ha, you're just like Zhuo Fan." Pausing, Ling Wucheng looked at him. "Ha ha ha, I see. So he gave you a road pass as well." The declarations of war took wings, pasted across the streets of Tianyu, and drove horror into the hearts of its people. Regent Estate, by its imperial right, declared itself king. It would first rid the land of that traitor Zhuo Fan and Luo clan, vowing to purge the nation of its descendants, bringing peace. Zhuo Fan accused Regent Estate of its degenerate actions, deceiving, plotting, and scheming in order to take the 7 noble houses for itself. Its crimes were beyond count. With the power invested in the Luo clan as the 8th noble house, they took upon themselves the duty of a ruler's loyal servant to rid the world of these heinous lowlifes and to dispel the darkness. The average citizen looked more lost than ever. Tianyu was under Yuan clan's rule. Whoever marched in the name of the imperial family had righteousness by his side. The emperor had Zhuo Fan turn into a wanted man, and Regent Estate was tasked to remove him. Everyone knew that, but from Zhuo Fan's declaration, it looked as if Regent Estate had made the emperor come to the wrong conclusion through coercion and slander. Sticking to the fact that loyal officials were usually framed by corrupt ones, Zhuo Fan claimed to be a bastion of loyalty. His wanted status was all due to Regent Estate's schemes and playing the emperor for a fool. He wanted to remove the corruption and allow the emperor to think clearly, hence the rise against Regent Estate. Zhuo Fan looked to have enough reasons to do it as well. But what got the entire populace staring blankly was who was in the wrong and who was right. It ought to be the imperial family who'd clarify this point, yet the sovereign was eerily quiet. It was the emperor who had issued a decree to have Zhuo Fan killed, but now he had turned a deaf ear. The great emperor feinted senility. For argument's sake, if he did speak out, would he have the reason to attack them both later? It was better to let them slaughter each other and then finish them off in due time. As for who was right and who was wrong, it all came down to the emperor's decision. No, the emperor's plan was ingenious, fooling the whole nation. But one thing they did know was that Luo clan and Regent Estate were mad about putting the other one down. The noble houses with their long-standing legacy were leveled in a short time, leaving only these 2 factions. These small-time clans couldn't mess with any of these big shots. It was a safer bet to wait for the winner to come out before hugging their leg. Even though this action carried a slightly reproachful tone, it was way better than making the wrong choice and ending up a corpse in the mud. The emperor was shrewd, but the clans weren't that dumb either to get swept up by the vortex. Who cares who's vile and who's playing nice? The victor has always been and always will be right. That old coot is playing deaf. You asked me to deal with Zhuo Fan and now you won't even back me up, rotten bastard, Huangpu Tianyuan raved. Ling Wucheng smiled. A state lord, we knew this was coming. The imperial family wants to be the third party, so how can it give us just cause? It will only work to boost our forces. Not to mention, he hardly has an excuse to deal with us. He must be thinking he has us and Zhuo Fan right where he wants us. Humph, delusions is what he has. Before he even gets the chance, I'll make sure his backyard burns. Huangpu Tianyuan slapped the table. Leng Wucheng smiled with a wise look. Zhuo Fan was laid back, waiting for the war to come knocking. He had figured out the imperial family's reaction ages ago and had drafted that ridiculous and flashy deceleration for the same reason. He painted himself as the picture of loyalty, since no one was there to refute him anyway. Or Regent Estate would have taken the name of a loyal official to boost his ranks, and he'd be left with nothing. This way is much better. I am as guilty as you are righteous, making this war fair and square. As for the imperial family throwing its hooks in, Humph, his backyard won't be so quiet for long. With a twisted smile, Zhuo Fan looked in the imperial capital's direction, confident in his contingencies. Anywho, in the imperial palace, the emperor in his throne had a shifty look in his eyes now and then. Marshal Dugu, it's time. Order me, your majesty, Dugu Zhanshan bowed. The emperor said, Marshal Dugu, with purging traitors as the reason, assemble 1,000,000 men. I'm sure you know what to do next. I understand. Sighing inside, Dugu Zhanshan shook his head in defeat. The emperor wanted him to root out all traitors. As for who these were, he didn't say. It was the same as asking to kill them all, and the emperor was sure to have their list of crimes ready to publicize any time. But to go to war against his godson was something this all-marshal found toiling, but the emperor had given his order and he had to obey. Your Majesty, my departure will bring great chaos in the imperial capital. I fear. It's fine. Dugu Zhanshan was wrecked with worry, but the emperor cut him off. I have made plans for this eventuality. Marshal can go with ease. This plan will settle Tianyu's critical situation. No mistakes are allowed. Understood. Dugu Zhanshan bowed and left the palace. The emperor was struck with grief seeing him go. Marshal, for the good of the nation, I can only be ruthless. Days later, news of Dugu Zhanshan's army being on the move spread to every ear. Zhuo Fan and Huangpu Tianyuan snickered. Only the prime minister was frowning. Obscure wolf slipped before him once again, excited. Prime Minister Zhuge, even Dugu Zhanshan has left the emperor's side. This is our best chance so far. We wait. Zhuge Chengfeng's brow was locked in a tight scowl. Hu Lianchai grew unsettled. Prime Minister, sir, all of the emperor's loyal subjects are gone. He is defenseless. If we wait for him to settle all conflicts, in and out of court, it'll be too late. The garrison has been putting pressure on us to leave since a few days ago as well. We can't wait much longer. Sighing, Zhuge Chengfeng's mind was a mess. Finally he spoke. We wait. For what, Prime Minister, sir? What's holding you back? Hu Lianchai was angry now. The Quanrong's finest weren't here on a sightseeing trip. Going around the place doing nothing all the time would end up being the shame of their army back home. But this was all on the Prime Minister. Flicking his sleeve, Hu Lianchai was gone, leaving Zhuge Chengfeng alone with his jumbled thoughts. Whoosh, his two elders appeared at his sides, bowing. Lord Prime Minister, what plagues you? Of the 5 divine dragons, we've only ever seen 3. Now who do you think the other 2 are? Zhuge Chengfeng said. The yin-yang elders understood his plight and said, Lord Prime Minister, you've held back all this time because of these 2 divine dragons. Know yourself and your enemy and you will be ever victorious, even against divine dragons. If I do not know who they are, our impetuous action will be the death of us. Black Elder said, Lord Prime Minister, I have a conjecture but find it inappropriate. A man of your power has traveled far and knows much. No matter what happens in Tianyu, however people hide themselves, nothing comes as a surprise to you. Yet we have no information on these 2 divine dragons. They may not even exist, made up by the imperial family as a bluff. SSS Zhuge Chengfeng gasped. You mean to say the old man has been using the empty city tactic? This is one dangerous bet. He would rather send everyone to deal with Regent Estate and Zhuo Fan and only then settle the court. That would mean not acting now will be a waste. But what if it's all a trap and everything we've worked for would go down the drain? That old coot's scheme is brilliant. I am truly in a dilemma. Zhuge Chengfeng sighed, but his gaze steeled. Send the order to get ready. Second Prince was pacing in his new manner, excited and worried. Whoosh, a second later he found himself looking at a gray robe and said, Sir Yu Ming, you're back at last. The situation? I know. Yu Ming had a crafty smile. Your Highness, this is your moment. Truly? Second Prince beamed, too excited to speak. Come night, Second Prince and Yu Ming were sitting in the main hall waiting for information. Below them were military officials, with the commander of the city guards in the lead. Since the emperor had left the safety of the capital in the Second Prince's hands, these men were his to command. To seize the throne and rule the lands, he needed a proper foundation. What's taking so long? Second Prince's feet bounced, waiting with anxiety. Yu Ming next to him shook his head. Second Prince wears his heart on his sleeve. How can he be ruler material? If by some miracle he gets the throne, he'll soon get kicked off anyway, unlike the current emperor who, despite being known as incapable, had his own thinking. He had toyed with Tianyu's old foxes for decades. A true master of the mind. Just how can such a father have a hothead for a son? Humph, that midwife must have been at fault. She must have dropped him on his head at birth. Yu Ming mocked him inside. Second Prince had no clue that his most trusted advisor had no trust in him at all, only waiting impatiently for the spy. Whoosh, a man appeared in front on his knees. Second Prince jumped to his feet. What's the situation? Your Highness, Dugu army has been marching for a month and is thousands of leagues away. It will be impossible for them to return in time, even if it is only Dugu Jianshan or the 4 tigers of Tianyu. Truly, Second Prince was ecstatic. Ha ha ha, Dugu army is gone for real. Father is wide open. Commander, assemble the 30,000 guards and attack the palace and force Father to abdicate. By morning at court, I'll be the new emperor. No one can do anything, ha ha ha. Yes, your majesty. Long live the emperor, the commander bowed. Second Prince laughed harder, his face beaming, writing himself off as the emperor already. He, let's see who will dare say I'm not fit to rule when I have the imperial palace in my palm. Second Prince left with the captains right behind him. Begin, capture all officials. I don't want any chaos. 30,000 imperial guards are enough to seize everything. We will settle it tonight. Your majesty is invincible. The men chapped their lips. Only Yu Ming stayed behind with a mocking smile. Humph, the tallest tree gets all the wind. The imperial capital doesn't lack men with power and ambition, so why the hell don't they act, leaving you to go first? Idiot, your only use is to be someone else's pawn. I've done what Zhuo Fan and Leng Wucheng asked. The imperial capital will be in chaos. Dugu Jianshan's army will have to return, and they can fight to their heart's content. Ha ha ha. Yu Ming slunk into the dark night. The main street of the imperial capital was soon crawling with soldiers. One busybody got too curious but was scared away by the display. Some stubborn officials were under house arrest, with nobody going in or out. Sighing, these men guessed what was going on. Someone was rebelling now of all times when everything was in chaos. All they could do was to wait for the resolution, knowing the night would be a chaotic one. Zhu Chengfeng was at his home, consulting the details of his operation when he heard the commotion outside. One servant reported seeing guards around the house. Everyone was frantic, especially a man with sideburns, shouting, "Humph, didn't I tell you? He even has the Prime Minister's house surrounded. Just which captain dares to do this? Minister of War, settle down." Zhu Chengfeng smiled. Ha ha ha, they're only making a scene, that's all. But Lord Prime Minister, to have guards surround the Minister of War is a direct affront to me. The man was outraged at the gross lack of respect. Zhu Chengfeng laughed. There's no need to feel shame when they aren't even your men. Our men are still waiting outside. Just let these brutes search all they want, then we'll decide on our course of action. Zhu Chengfeng's eyes flashed. The Minister of War showed a crafty grin in reply, nodded and sat down. Inside the imperial palace, the emperor was at his desk when he heard a cry and a servant frantically came over. "Why, your majesty, this is terrible." "Slow down," the emperor remained calm. Taking a deep breath, the man said, "A revolt, your majesty. They're attacking the imperial palace and we're being overrun." "What?" The emperor rushed to his feet. But the servant begged before he could go, "Your majesty, it's too dangerous. Please use the secret tunnel and flee. I am the ruler of this nation. How can I flee from my lands?" Snorting, the emperor walked out. Just who dares to act with such impertinence? At the emperor's steel gaze, the servant sighed and followed behind him. They just stepped out and flames flashed across the sky with shouts and roars echoing everywhere. They saw a tide of soldiers smashing into the imperial palace and the imperial guards being pushed back. He also recognized who the rebels were, the city guards. Panting, out of the 3,000 imperial guards, only 300 remained, bloody and wounded. They all circled the emperor, their faces grave. Squinting, the emperor looked unhappily. "My child, why are you using the city guards for your own means and charging on the imperial palace?" "Ha ha ha, O imperial father. How do you know that I am leading the city guards and it's not them rebelling on their own accord?" A brash laugh announced the arrival of Second Prince, surrounded by 10 radiant stage experts. Snickering, the emperor mocked, "Commander of the guards is not impulsive and certainly not stupid enough to stick his neck out. You." Second Prince was infuriated. The emperor was mocking him for his rash actions, for that useless thing he had on his shoulder, even worse than a city commander, imperial father. "I know you've only cared for the elder brother and always looked down on me. But now you shall see what I'm made of." "Oh, I think I've seen quite enough, a brainless buffoon. If I'd left the empire in your hands, the Yuan clan won't even see the end of the year, with the nation falling into anarchy." The emperor patronized. Second Prince was fuming. "You can look down on me all you want, but history is written by the winner. I have you surrounded. The entire imperial palace is under my control." Make me an emperor now and I will let you retire and leave in bliss. Humph, you really are my son, but what if I don't plan on retiring? Maybe I'll keep this seat a while longer. The emperor belittled. Shuddering, the second prince spat, Imperial father, don't push me. What, you'll kill me? Kill your own flesh and blood? The emperor taunted. Second prince's eyes were red. Imperial father, you will abdicate whether you want to or not. Or our ties will be cut in blood. Second prince shouted, guard, bring his majesty a pen and paper. He is about to abdicate. Kill anyone who interferes. Understood. The guard army roared like a tsunami, filled with zest and power as it pressed on. The emperor was not the least bit scared, but one couldn't say the same about the imperial guards around him, shirking back slowly. Second prince saw them still acting firm and looked to his left. One radiant stage expert caught his meaning and flew for the emperor, but a figure cut that expert's path while someone shouted, second brother, stop. Bam, the clash rattled the men, making both sides drop their weapons in favor of covering their ears. The two experts separated, and the radiant stage expert fell back to the second prince's side. The other was next to the emperor, followed by 7 more, the remaining radiant stage guards in the imperial palace. Yangning scrambled over, ranting, second brother, how can a prince stoop to such disgraceful acts as to take up arms and revolt? Stop this right now and ask imperial father for forgiveness. Shut up, Yangning, this has nothing to do with you. Second prince never spared her a glance, only glaring at the emperor. Imperial father, ever since the fiasco with Zhuo Fan, your radiant stage guards are heavily wounded. You have no chance. I do not wish for patricide to be labeled a king slayer by the people. I advise you to abdicate. The emperor mocked, son, the throne has always been acquired through succession or war. I'll be honest with you. I never cared much for you, nor did I plan on making you the next in line. If you want my throne, you will just have to take it from my hands. The emperor raised his palm, although empty, it carried all the imperial power he mustered as he taunted, if you can, that is. Second prince gnashed his teeth, his nails digging into his palms, and spoke in a tragic tone, Imperial father, finally you've come clean. You never tried to groom me into an emperor, casting me aside from the beginning. Then all I can say is that today, the throne will be mine. Don't blame me, father, as I'm about to break our ties. Second prince almost roared, his eyes bloodshot. The emperor, though, just looked back coldly. Second prince's heart was struck with dolor. He sensed that his beloved imperial father never even considered him as his son, fueling his burning rage. Kill. Leave none alive, get the jade seal, I'll draft the order myself. Understood, the men shouted, storming the palace. The 10 radiant stage experts moved as well. With only 8 experts on the emperor's side and no divine dragons around, they held the advantage. The emperor would soon lay in chains and the coup would be victorious. The radiant stage experts were giddy at the prospects. They would become the new emperor's loyal officials, blessed with riches and resources. The emperor's radiant stage guards were getting graver by the second, finding themselves outnumbered and unfit to protect the emperor. Yangning cried, Father, look out. The emperor still bore the same calculative look, standing firm and unflinching. His eyes flashed at the incoming enemy. Where are the shadow guards? Who black streaks flew from around the emperor with eerie cackles. They moved on to the radiant stage experts like black clouds in the hundreds. All experts kept calm and retaliated, but their attacks went right through the shadows, having no effect at all. While the shadow guards relied on their strong souls and couldn't enjoy tearing into the enemy, they could at least mess with their minds and unnerve them. There was hardly a radiant stage expert among the shadow guards, but thanks to their creepy methods and their numbers, the enemy had no counter to their harassment. The emperor's radiant stage guards were filled with bloodlust. With the shadow guards keeping the experts busy, the guards would rob their lives. They moved fast, jumped up in the air, and came down under the cover of the shadows with a heavy palm attack. Second prince's experts drew a trail of blood as they crossed the sky. As for the city guards, they were pushed back in but few moves from the radiant stage imperial guards. Second prince's experts could do nothing but lay there wounded. Watching their brothers breathe their last, the city guards' metal cracked and shuddered back. Damn those pestering shadows, Second Prince spat. I knew them to only be scouts, but they're actually so strong, even without the Shadow King around. Imperial father, is this your last ace? Second Prince muttered. The Emperor's eyes flashed in disappointment. Son, know yourself and your enemy, and you shall be ever victorious. You are truly a lost cause to fight your father without even knowing my hidden aces. Sigh, so many years have passed, yet you never could fix this brash side of yours. Second Prince clenched his fists in denial. His mutiny might have less to do with reaching that fantastical throne and more to earn his father's approval. Only to have neither. Second Prince, the Shadow Guards will overrun us. We need to fall back, one radiant stage expert with blood coming from his mouth advised. With the imperial capital in turmoil, despite our failure, we will make a comeback as long as your highness lives. Comeback. From this mutiny, here and now, was his best chance. He took the city guards for himself and struck while the emperor lay defenseless. This was as good as it was ever going to get. Failing now, he'd be hard-pressed to get a chance even remotely as good as this one. And yet, he looked at the fallen radiant stage experts of his, at the city guards being toyed with by mere hundreds of shadow guards, and the second prince closed his eyes in defeat. "I've truly lost. Second prince," another expert urged. Flashing his eyes open, he steeled his voice. "Fall back." Second prince and his experts in the lead quickly made their getaway, yet he turned his head at the emperor now and then as the city guards followed behind him. The emperor's eyes were struck with lamentation. After them, one radiant stage guard shouted, seeing them on the run. The emperor sighed, waving, "Leave him be." The radiant stage guards froze but nodded. "Your majesty is the Lord Supreme but still a father. Second prince has revolted tonight, yet his majesty would let him go." While the emperor didn't pursue, some shrewder individuals weren't about to let this prime chance go. Second prince was pulling out of the imperial palace while fending off pursuers when a boom revealed torches lighting up just beyond the gates, shining across thousands upon thousands of faces. Second prince watched the sea of lights and spat, "Crown prince, third brother, have you come to ambush me? Second brother, you had the gall to raise your arms against our emperor and are charged with heinous crimes. Talk, how is the imperial father?" Crown prince stepped forth, demanding. Yuan Kong was worried. "Second brother, how are the imperial father and Yongning? You couldn't have been so cold as to harm them." "Humph, old third, when people speak of lowbrow, bug-eyed, fat-headed fool, they mean you. I thought it would be obvious by now how they're doing by looking at my beaten army." Second prince mocked. "Ha ha ha, elder brother, you sure are considerate. I'm sure you've been waiting for this chance for a long time. With the sin of regicide on my head, you would have all the right to take me down and take the throne for yourself. Humph, like a true Oriole. Now I see why the imperial father made you crown prince. You really are resourceful." Crown prince held him in a cold stare. "Second brother, you are jumping to conclusions. I only have imperial father's safety in mind. Do you now? Then you should be relieved to know that the imperial father is the picture of health, strong as a horse. It'll be a long time before you'll take his mantle, decades even, ha ha ha." Second prince cackled, to which the crown prince displayed a bloodthirsty look. "Second brother truly is a waste." Third prince was overjoyed to know that the emperor was unharmed. "Elder brother, imperial father and Yongning are all right. We made it in time. And the heavens are by imperial father's side." Crown prince nodded, looking calm, but when he saw the second prince, he barked, "Second brother, you stand accused of inciting rebellion. Give yourself in and let us take you before the imperial father for your sentence." Second prince mocked, "You've got another thing coming if you think it'd be that easy. I may have failed, but I still have my guards, my radiant stage experts. It'd be easy to get through you. Would it?" Crown prince looked down on him with a smile and shouted at the crowd, "Officers of the city guard, have you forgotten whose men you really are? You have taken up arms against your lord, but your name is still on the record. You may run, but what about your families? Will you condemn them to annihilation?" Every city guard shuddered on hearing this, and their morale plunged. Frowning, second prince picked up on the crown prince's trick, and his eyes spat fire. Crown prince snickered, addressing the men once more, "You are all loyal soldiers of the nation, tough and hard-working. This is not how you should go down in history. You are also victims in this mutiny. Stand down, turn back, and I promise, in my name as Crown Prince, that His Majesty will overlook this act of yours. You will keep your jobs, you will stay as city guards." "Crown Prince," second prince snapped, jumping at him with a fifth-grade spiritual weapon. Crown Prince was firm, facing him with a fifth-grade spiritual weapon of his own. Bam! Under the screeches of metal grinding on everyone's ears, they saw a terrible explosion as the second prince was pushed back and started spurting blood. He lay on the ground, pale and haggard. Crown Prince stood up with his weapon out just like before, a cold smile on his lips. The only testament to his power was the cracked pavement underneath. Second Prince, the radiant stage experts helped him up. While the city guards stayed away, as did the commander, Crown Prince had given them a way out. Picking up arms now would doom not only them but their families, their entire clans. The warm smile of Crown Prince showed them how much he appreciated their intelligence, and he now turned to the radiant stage experts. Every single cultivator only fights for resources, spirit stones, and pills. Now that he has failed in his rebellion, what could he possibly give you? Give up and stand beside me. I will make you venerables. Or would you rather be on the run with my retarded brother? Ha ha ha, inciting a rebellion is a heavy crime, not something even a radiant stage expert would dare commit on a whim, or he'd soon find himself hunted down by the Empire. Of course, if you think you're Gu Santong who could fight a nation, then by all means. With a shiver, the experts felt a desperate fear run through their blood. They were just average, not freaks of Zhuo Fan or Gu Santong's caliber to flip the table in the emperor's face on a whim. It was all about power, something they sorely lacked. Without much suspense, they all sighed and left with hands behind their backs towards the crown prince. Watching his men leave him one by one left the second prince with a sinking feeling, his gaze empty. Ha ha ha, see that? The moment you lose is the moment you have nothing. The experts, the city guards, they didn't do it for you, but for that thing hovering over your head, the title of prince. Now that even that is taken away, you are nothing, just a lonely rebel. Your only choice now is to give up, ha ha ha. Crown Prince laughed at the second prince frozen on the ground. Not only was ruling out of reach, even his status was threatened. Third prince shook his head, sending 2 men to tie him up. His mind was still in shock, walking around like an empty shell only capable of regret and dread. The emperor was back at his desk, lamenting. Yangning poured him tea, urging, "Imperial father, please cheer up." Second brother's merely blinded by greed, the power having gone to his head. He'd never willingly hurt you. Ha ha ha, I would have been happier if he did. A pity this is as far as my child can go. The emperor shook his head. Yangning started, "What does that mean?" "Nothing. This is a man's game, something you don't understand and hope you never will." The emperor patted her head with a fond gaze. "I wish for you to stay like this forever, pure and unmarred by the world's corruption." Blinking her big eyes, Yangning nodded clueless. The emperor smiled. "I just love that silly look on your face, ha ha ha." Report. A sharp voice announced the arrival of a servant. "Your Majesty, Crown Prince and Third Prince's timely intervention has captured Second Prince's rebel army. The 2 princes are wishing to see your Majesty with the rebel prince." "Humph, impeccable timing too." The emperor snorted. "I'll allow it." "Yes." The servant left. Yangning watched in worry. "Imperial father, what are you going to do with second brother?" The emperor's eyes flashed, the silence weighing heavy on Yangning's innocent heart. They were kin, born of the same parent. How could she bear seeing her father kill her brother? But even she realized the gravity of rebellion. A prince would suffer the same fate as the next criminal, the gallows. The fact that she could do nothing to plead his case only burdened her heart more. Crown Prince and Blobby brought in a tied-up second prince. "Imperial father, I ask that you forgive me for my late arrival to your rescue." "Crown Prince, how did you handle your brother and the guards?" the emperor asked. Crown Prince was candid. "Forgive me, Imperial father, I have taken the liberty to let them go, to let them return to their posts. With troubled times upon us, you cannot blame them. There was no need to exacerbate. Crown Prince, you've done well." The emperor nodded. Crown Prince bowed with gratitude. "I thank Imperial father for his kind words." The emperor turned to the captive. "Son, I've told you before. You can only have what I give you and never take what I don't give you. Do you finally see the wisdom in my words?" "Humph, what use does wisdom have to a defeated general?" Second prince sighed. "I never considered the fact that the reason behind my rebellion was all due to my title as prince, the title Imperial father gave me. Now that you've taken it away, I will be worse than nothing, ha ha ha." "Imperial father, is this what you wanted me to see?" The emperor shook his head. "The sky is boundless and the lands vast, but the power of the emperor goes beyond them all. I only wish to tell you that I am the true ruler of Tianyu. You can pull any stunt you like as long as you don't rebel." Second prince sighed, hanging his head. Crown Prince's eyes glinted. "Imperial father, may I ask what is the second prince's sentence?" the fatty probed. All eyes turned to the emperor. Only second prince's head was still down in the pits of despair. The emperor took a deep breath. "Guards, throw second prince Yuan Yang in prison, where he shall spend the remainder of his days." Second prince shuddered, incapable of believing his ears. He had rebelled and should have been given the noose, so why? A father's love is boundless. You may find it in you to take my life for the throne, but I will never think for a second to kill my son. "Take him away," the emperor mocked and sighed. Second prince never spoke a word even as he was dragged away by the imperial guards, but his eyes reddened. The fatty and Yangning perked up. Crown Prince looked happy, but the emperor picked up on the discontent in his eyes. "Crown Prince, a lord needs to show mercy. He can no longer stand in your way." As both a warning and advice, the emperor spoke with a flick of his sleeve, sending them all away. Crown Prince shuddered, his face gloomy as he shuffled away with a lowered head. At long last, the sun dawned on the imperial capital after a tumultuous night, finding the city guards at their posts and the order restored. Zhu Chengfeng and many officials were waiting in the prime minister's mansion for updates. A shadow burst in and whispered in Zhu Chengfeng's ear, causing his smile to widen. "Prime Minister, sir, what's the situation?" the Minister of War asked. Zhu Chengfeng shook his head. Like a true failure he is, the second prince could never live up to his majesty's ability. However, and he laughed, thanks to the second prince's tantrum, he left his majesty open to scrutiny. He is indeed playing the empty city tactic. All he has are some shadow guards and wounded imperial guards. The Minister of War proposed, then we can. Of course, Zhu Chengfeng was firm, having grasped the truth. The old man has gone all in on this move of his. He has sent his forces to deal with those two, yet sit steady on his throne to blind us. He'd never guessed that his treasured empty city tactic is now in shambles. It's like the heavens are begging us to take this chance. Ha ha ha. Minister, our forces can begin. Take the imperial palace within the week. Zhu Chengfeng's eyes flashed, his voice stern. The Minister of War saluted, as did the rest of the excited officials. The time for a new ruler is upon us. News of the Second Prince's rebellion spread like wildfire, reaching Dugu Zhanshan's ears thousands of miles away 3 days later. Dugu Zhanshan panicked and was about to turn back. He didn't even get to strike camp, though, as a yellow flash landed before the marshal's tent bearing a scroll with imperial edict on it. Dugu Zhanshan convened with his tigers and received the order. Hear ye, the emperor's edict. Marshal Dugu is to stamp out the traitors and press on with valor. He is not to return without results. The radiant stage messenger was one of the few capable guards the emperor had left. For him to come at this time spoke of the importance of this order. Dugu Zhanshan took the edict. I am honored. May His Majesty live a long and prosperous life. And then he put on a heavy look. Is His Majesty safe? Rest easy, Marshal Dugu. Everything has been handled. Second Prince's rebellion was put down swiftly. The messenger smiled. Dugu Zhanshan relaxed, yet was pensive, but this would have revealed all the forces by His Majesty's side. His aged face was filled with wrinkles from all the worry once more. The messenger spoke with admiration. Marshal Dugu is indeed loyal to a fault to the nation. To be frank, His Majesty's guard isn't looking good. But as you can see from His Majesty's decree, you cannot return. His Majesty is burning all his boats. For peace in Tianyu, he is willing to forego even his safety. Dugu Zhanshan shook his head. The messenger nodded slowly. After he left, Dugu Zhanshan looked at the thin paper in his hands for a long time. The emperor feared he'd rush back after catching the news of the capital and sent this radiant stage expert. Any delay would not only promise a swift end to Zhuo Fan and Regent Estate's war, but would also give them time to recoup. There'd be no point in going then, turning into both sides losing. Dugu Zhanshan was once again touched by his emperor's concern and struck out camp to set off. Only this time, his marching was faster, hoping to settle the matters here and get back to the imperial capital before anything worse happened. Meanwhile, in a deep ravine, Luo clan and Regent Estate were each parked on the hills opposite of each other, each eyeing the other with the thirst for battle. Despite the declarations of war, despite the drive to quell each other, they still had some qualms about fighting, fears revolving around hidden traps. But time was of the essence, and the sooner they got this over and done with, the better, which led to an accord to the face-off here, at troubled Falcon's Gully, in a head-on and above-board manner. On the Luo clan's corner, besides Zhuo Fan and his radiant stage elders, there were experts from his 3 allies present as well. Each of them glared at Regent Estate with rage and malice for destroying their homes. Hatred consuming them. Regent Estate's side was no different. Its allies mirrored the enemy's thirst for blood and deep rancor. It was by Zhuo Fan's grace that their homes were in an even sorrier sight. The desecration of their ancestors tended to bring out the worst in people. Who knew? Their hatred for Zhuo Fan went beyond bone deep at this point. It was in their DNA. They wished for nothing more than to put Zhuo Fan into a press and squeeze him for all the blood he had. Yet all they've been doing these past weeks was measuring egos by means of glares, with neither wanting to take the first step down this bloody war. It had the added effect of fermenting each side's hatred and testing their ever-thinning patience. That was the only thing they could do, as each side's allies were either under direct orders from Zhuo Fan or Regent Estate. With no right to complain, they just had to wait and wait some more. Steward Zhu, we've been staring at each other for weeks. When do you plan to attack? Grandmother found the limit of her patience once more and came to urge Zhuo Fan, as she had done many times till now. The other houses nodded. Zhuo Fan was laid back per usual in his comfy deck chair, his lazy eyes closed and his voice drawn out. Easy, we're still waiting for the right timing. Still. Until when do we wait? Until we become statues of liberty? Peony Overseer snapped. Zhuo Fan swayed in his chair. The same thing was going on at Regent Estate's corner. Yu Wanshan and company were boiling, but Huangpu Tianyuan and Leng Wucheng reined them in. They were all a powder keg of emotions with nowhere to vent. Whoosh, 2 jade slips arrived at the camps. Zhuo Fan skimmed over it as Leng Wucheng did the same. The two were miles from each other, yet reacted at the same time and in the same manner. Ha ha ha, at last there's movement. What do you mean? Grandmother asked. Snickering, Zhuo Fan shot to his feet and barked, Notify the elders, we attack at once. What? They were all baffled. He just asked us to wait, and the next second he is asking us to attack. Just what on earth happened? Nonetheless, they all began war preparations, eager to get the show on the road and the blood flowing. In quick order, rows of experts rolled out into the valley like a black cloud, glaring at the hill 1,000 meters in the distance. Huangpu Tianyuan and Leng Wucheng brought out their army as well. Zhuo Fan, Huangpu Tianyuan and Leng Wucheng's eyes met and they burst out laughing. We finally get to see today when I can tear you to shreds, all to my heart's content. Zhuo Fan, it's high time you paid for taking away my son. Huangpu Tianyuan roared, to which Zhuo Fan only had derision. Huangpu Tianyuan, let's see you try. Leng Wucheng fanned himself with a smile, Estate Lord Steward Zhu. We are all bitter enemies here, with each side wishing to destroy the other. Just that there were so many interferences along the way. This is a rare occasion, with Second Prince's rebellion igniting the chaos, yet Dugu army still marching towards us. It won't be long before Prime Minister Zhuge acts as well and gets him to turn back. That only leaves the two of us to tear into each other with a bright smile on our faces. Isn't it great? So why waste time with pointless chatter? We need to settle our grudges with speed and force, giving time for the winner to take the nation. As for the loser, it will become a stepping stone with no regrets. No regrets indeed. Zhuo Fan beamed. I never pegged Sir Leng to be such a bold man. All words now are useless. Everyone has come prepared, so what are we waiting for? Let's do some killing. No matter what hatred we had before, this battle is all that's important. Whoever stands tall in the end. What do you say, Estate Lord Huangpu? Huangpu Tianyuan beamed as well. Ha ha ha, rightly said indeed. Hatred aside, in the race for power the weak gets eaten. Why would the king of the world ever care about some petty squabbles? Zhuo Fan, you are a man of ambition. For me to fight you today with the world at stake, it is an honor. The revenge for my son no longer matters. Why would a man with his eyes on the world ever mind such trifles? Then, Estate Lord Huangpu, shall we? Zhuo Fan snickered. Huangpu Tianyuan had the same twisted smile as both of them roared to war. The leaders' roars rattled the skies and their men's ears. Men poured out from each side like black rain, bone-tempering disciples. The two sides' gazes were locked as the wave of men rushed past them and deeper into the valley. These men's eyes turned red, consumed by madness as they exploded with yuan qi. It took only an instant to brandish their weapons and hack their opponents. The entire troubled Falcon's Gully was saturated with people, in the hundreds of thousands, drowning any other sound with their endless manic cries for blood and death. There were rules to war. Soldiers went against soldiers, and generals paired with generals. As profound heaven experts and radiant stage experts were pretty much killing machines amidst bone-tempering cultivators, both sides agreed on having their disciples' battle ignored. Opting instead to stare off their equals in cultivation just across the gully, they were the real targets. Killing bone-tempering disciples only brought disgrace. Safe to say, the killing inside the gully among disciples reached the heavens. While their superiors were still in a stare-down competition behind them. Huangpu Finglay, Mad Dipper Li Jingshan stood out, bowing before the High Venerable. We didn't get to finish our last fight in the imperial capital. With this prime chance befalling, will you dare meet me in battle? Ha ha ha, Li Jingshan, you're on quite the high horse, shamelessly uttering those words to me. Correct me if I'm wrong, but weren't you under me? Laughing, Huangpu Finglay came forward with an intent to fight and a condescending look. Li Jingshan grinned. Humph, that's all in the past. All I'm asking is if you would dare to come at me. Why wouldn't I? Huangpu Finglay jumped in the air towards him. Li Jingshan laughed as he did the same. The two met with a resounding bang, blowing away the clouds for a mile around. Their clash was so loud that the house lords on each side had to hold their ears due to pain. Only radiant stage experts and the likes of Zhuo Fan and Huangpu Tianyuan kept standing tall and observing their duel. Huangpu Finglay shone golden and 9 dragon images appeared on his sides, the peak of imperial tyrant body art. Li Jingshan flickered in darkness, enveloped in a black dragon image. He was using Wraith Art's power to cover himself. Both were peak radiant stage experts armed with profound ranked martial arts trained to extremes. They were the brightest gems around, evenly matched. The surging powers at work here had the valley divided. One side was shrouded in a black dragon, with lightning crackling along its way, the other in glorious golden halo and imposing dominance. Yet neither could win over the other, stuck in a constant stalemate. Huangpu Tianyuan's brow trembled, sighing, I now know why Elder Li threw his lot with the Luo clan. I don't even recognize this art. But for him to stand on solid ground against High Venerable, it goes on to show how much power it has. I can't fathom how the Luo clan could have such wonderful art. Had Elder Li stayed in Regent Estate, he'd never have reached High Venerable's level even after training for a century in the incomplete imperial tyrant body art. But now, ha ha ha, Estate Lord, I anticipated Luo clan might be complex. Elder Li is no fool, and his complete loyalty to Zhuo Fan shows that he got something great out of it. It was his best choice taking the Luo clan's outstretched hand. Lang Wucheng smiled. Huangpu Tianyuan sighed inside. Zhuo Fan is a genius among geniuses. In under 10 years, he dragged a nobody third-rate clan up the stairs of power, turning it into a colossus. Ignoring him 7 years ago is my greatest failure. If only I knew, I'd have sent everything to cull him. Huangpu Tianyuan squinted. Zhuo Fan had a knowing smile, tracing 2 fingers on his neck as a taunt. Huangpu Tianyuan turned to look at the fight above. Humph, Zhuo Fan, be smug all you want. I may not have taken you out when I should, but your time will come soon, very soon. You aren't invincible. You have yet to taste my 9 dragons' diamond body. Humph. Bang, the body cultivators in the sky had similar styles, unleashing one overpowered attack after another. It took but a second to exchange 10 moves. With no clear winner in sight, Li Jingshan was out of breath and bruised up. Huangpu Finglay mirrored him in every regard except for the shocked look. This was his first time truly going against Li Jingshan. It was natural to be overwhelmed seeing Li Jingshan's power reach his level after a mere decade. It used to take less than 10 moves to floor him. This expert today was outraged at his inability to reach the same outcome today. Li Jingshan was ecstatic. He enjoyed the simple things in life, like challenging his ex-boss who could, at one time, deck him good. Li Jingshan grinned. Huangpu Finglay, have you been losing your touch the past couple of years? You are not swinging your punches like you used to. Is old age catching up to you? Ha ha ha. Shut your pie hole. I'm only going easy on you, and this is the thanks I get mockery. In that case, I won't leave you with a shred of honor. Huangpu Finglay went red from anger, yet his heart was queasy since he did give his all. Anything more would mean staking his life as well. Did he really have to put his weary old bones on the line to get out of this? While he was having a hard time making a decision, Li Jingshan had already made his. He had set out to do one thing today, beat his ex-boss. Missing this chance, Zhuo Fan was bound to finish him off at some point. As a martial fanatic, he just had to beat the guy who had wrecked him years ago, or he'd never forgive himself. It would have the added side effect of affecting his cultivation. Li Jingshan gnashed his teeth and spat. Huangpu Finglay, take this. Li Jingshan's black aura exploded, shooting for Huangpu Finglay as a black dragon wrapped around him. Humph, isn't it the same soaring demonic dragon again? It won't change a thing. Huangpu Finglay snorted with a shiny golden glow around him. Li Jingshan had a creepy smile on him though, and just before impact he halted to make a sign. Wraith Style's third move, Necro Dragon Screech, roar. The black dragon image ripped the space in its charge towards Huangpu Finglay. Safe to say, even with Imperial Tyrant body art, Huangpu Finglay would have a hard time fending off such an onslaught from such a short distance. And that was the truth of it. Huangpu Finglay was forced into letting his soul take the brunt. A wound on the soul meant a drop in strength, which translated into defeat. Facing his ex-subordinate and losing, High Venerable's name would be soaked in mud. Huangpu Finglay bit his tongue and spat blood as he made a sign. Imperial Tyrant Body Art's 10th stage, Imperial Presence. A golden glow washed over him as a golden dragon roamed around him in an airtight seal. The 10th, Zhuo Fan cried, that's stepping into the Earth-ranked martial art category. Does Imperial Tyrant Body Art have a 10th stage? Huangpu Tianyuan was stumped, amazed that Huangpu Finglay had reached such a level. Imperial Tyrant Body Art had 9 stages, with the 10th stage mere hearsay. Only the ancestors of Regent Estate a millennium ago could reach it. High Venerable is a genius of his generation, no less than the eldest young master. If not for the dragon's soul defending him, he never would have been High Venerable's match. High Venerable is a true genius of the millennium, Lang Wucheng praised. Huangpu Tianyuan nodded. Huangpu Finglay laughed behind the golden curtain. Li Jingshan, do you see this? This is the true power of Imperial Tyrant Body Art, martial and spiritual unity. Be it physical or soul attacks, nothing can break the Imperial presence. Think again. Li Jingshan grinned, his black aura disappeared as an eerie power built up while he extended 2 fingers. High Venerable, the only way to make your defeat true is by taking you down at your best, Zhuo Fan cried, Elder Lei. A dreadful wave shot from Li Jingshan's fingers. His face went purple, blood leaked from his mouth, and the veins in his arms pulsed, ready to burst. Yet none of that could wipe the excitement off his face, releasing every ounce of power he had. That's the profound ranked martial art, Finger of Death. Sensing the energy, Qiu Yanhai cried, ever since Steward Zhuo has taught it to us, we haven't had much time to practice it, yet this geezer has already mastered it. He really is the Mad Dipper, Zhu Qingjian nodded in praise, only Zhuo Fan sighed. Huangpu Finglay, try this on for size. Despite sucking all of his yuan qi, the move launched quickly, leaving Li Jingshan's finger at his shout. Whoosh, with a series of bangs, something unseen came out of his fingers and went straight for his target. The roaming dragon was outraged. It grew dozens of times in size and retaliated. Its power, as if coming from heavens themselves, pressed on the house lords with such might, fear festered in their hearts. Huangpu Finglay, wrapped in his pillar of light, showed shock at Li Jingshan hiding such a killer move. The power of that soul attack went beyond Radiant Stage, and not even with the help of Imperial Tyrant Body Art's 10th stage could he fend it off. Huangpu Finglay was sweating, his big eyes taking on a heavy gaze. Qiu Yanhai and Zhu Qingjian were panicking. Steward Zhuo, that's combination art. Zhuo Fan shook his head. The two were even more nervous now, but he's just one man. How can he perform combination art? Elder Li may very well be the only one who can. Zhuo Fan sighed. Necro Dragon's Screech and Finger of Death are sole profound ranked martial arts and can be combined. But to do that, both have to be executed in tandem, intrinsically at the same time. Even you two will find it hard to achieve it. But with Elder Li knowing both of them, combining them is not the issue here. Zhuo Fan's frown deepened, gazing at the aged figure above. Different martial arts imply that Yuan Qi takes different paths through one's meridians. When you launch an attack, there's always a pause before the next. Elder Li, I'm afraid, pulled out all the stops, unleashing the arts at almost the exact same time. This translates into broken meridians from the clashing flows of Yuan Qi, and you'll be crippled. Elder Li may have achieved it, but his body is finished. What, Elder Li? The couple's faces fell, turning to Li Jingshan. His power was plunging after unleashing the two arts. Elder Li, why did you have to go so far? Huangpu Finglay is strong, but not invincible. There's no hatred between you two, so why must you pay the ultimate price? Zhuo Fan and the power couple were vexed. This is no kill or be killed situation. Zai Tiansheng whipped out his sword, coming before them, and smiled at the figure above. Zhuo Fan, you do not understand a martial fanatic's heart. If you do not surpass an opponent you recognize, it will leave one with regrets. Today is when these two sides will settle their differences once and for all. If we fail, we will die. If we win, we will kill them. With your strength, Huangpu Finglay will most likely die at your hands, something Elder Li can't stop. It means that this is his last chance to fight his enemy. He must defeat his opponent by any means necessary. This is a martial fanatic's will and glory, spoken like a true martial fanatic. The people watched Elder Li pant as blood kept pouring out of him, but his eyes were full of joy, his smile wide. It's so hard to understand the mind of a martial fanatic. The way I see it, winning is everything, but to win at the cost of your own life is highly inadvisable. Zhuo Fan shook his head but smiled. Get ready, it's our turn soon. The rest had fire burning in their eyes. The now huge black dragon image above finally clashed with the golden pillar. Bam! The resulting explosion was like the aftermath of a bomb. The pillar shook under the point-blank impact, slowly getting riddled with cracks. With a snap, it fell apart and dissolved into flickers of light, while the black dragon was relentless in its pursuit for Huangpu Finglay. Boom! Huangpu Finglay felt his brain explode and an excruciating pain riddling his heart. Spitting blood, he slammed the ground, his soul in critical state. While his feeble consciousness still held on, he jumped towards Regent Estate. He knew he had lost this fight. Standing around longer would only mean death. Huangpu Finglay recalled his glorious name as Regent Estate's high venerable, and grief struck him. The fact that he had lost it all in a single move made this grandpa's aged heart rot with sorrow. Old Li, I'll get you for this next time. Li Jingshan had no time to wait that long. His wretched body had already passed the point of no return. He had to fulfill his wish, no matter the price. Blackness exploded from Li Jingshan once again, but so did blood. He bore through the pain as he jumped at Huangpu Finglay. Ha ha ha, high venerable, let's settle our grudges. Wraith Style's first move, Soaring Demonic Dragon. We never had any grudges. It's you who is so pig-headed to push it this far. Huangpu Finglay saw the black figure chase after him and was stunned and puzzled. He noticed Li Jingshan's odd situation. You should lick your wounds first. We have no hatred. So stop forcing yourself to come after me, all right? Huangpu Finglay felt like crying, unable to make sense of it all. He'd never guessed that Li Jingshan operated on much simpler motivations, to kill him with his own two hands. High Venerable, Huangpu Tianyuan shot forth, bringing joy to Huangpu Finglay's eyes. Estate Lord, Zhuo Fan's eyes flashed golden in the nick of time, cutting Huangpu Tianyuan's timely age short. Zhuo Fan, Huangpu Tianyuan gnashed his teeth. Zhuo Fan grinned. Elder Li is on my side and I will respect any decision he makes. You won't be going anywhere. Humph, we'll just see about that. Huangpu Tianyuan's right hand was enveloped in a golden dragon image for a second before turning into a scaled claw and attacking. The sharp talons whistled through the air. Transformation Earth Dragon Claw. He knew this move all too well since he had as well courtesy of his own dragon soul, so Zhuo Fan responded with the same coin. Clang. The clash resulted in screeches grating the ears of others. The two separated, finding the clash even. Zhuo Fan beamed. So you did train in 9 Dragons' diamond body. But that can't be all that a legendary Earth-ranked martial art can do, right? Ha ha ha, Zhuo Fan, this is all thanks to the Bodhi root you got for us, but I won't be going easy on you. You are destined to die today. Is that so? Zhuo Fan chuckled, followed by a shifty smile. Estate Lord, save me. Seeing the manic Li Jingshan fast approaching, Huangpu Finglay swallowed his pride and begged for help. But with Huangpu Tianyuan and Zhuo Fan doing the tango, help was on hold. To settle this battle, all Huangpu Tianyuan had to do was squash Zhuo Fan. And with the target right in front of him, victory was not something the life of a High Venerable could outweigh. Safe to say, High Venerable's cries for help went unanswered. Leng Wucheng had a contingency set for just this possibility, calling for the rest to move in. Zhuo Fan had the estate lord blocked, but what about the others? Dozens of radiant stage cultivators and profound heaven experts shot for Huangpu Finglay. Regent Estate's 20-plus venerables were even faster. Anyone would panic when their boss' life was on the line. Zhuo Fan moved, seeing the crowd, and Huangpu Tianyuan stepped in to block him. Zhuo Fan chuckled, not minding it in the least. Whoosh, others would handle the radiant stage rescue party, not to worry. The power couple and the 4 scheming demons, with a few radiant stage experts from their 3 allies, moved in, while Yu Wanshan's team of profound heaven experts was facing grandmother's team. It was Zhuo Fan's plan and his order. No one was to interfere in Elder Li's fight. Ling Wucheng took in the new battlefield and sighed. No matter the outcome of today's battle, High Venerable's life is forfeit. Li Jingshan arrived at last upon his target, the black aura having reached its peak. Huangpu Finglay paled. With the rescue team up a creek, he was left to fend for himself. Shouting, he shone golden once more, roaring, Li Jingshan, don't test me or I'll fight you to the death. Ha ha ha, just what I want. Li Jingshan turned into a black dragon as it went head first. Boom, black and golden glows clashed, shaking the world around them and turning many heads. As the dust settled and smoke rose, the bloody figures became visible. Li Jingshan was soaked in blood, his chest was caved in, vessels had burst and bones were snapped. His eyes, however, held that look of joy, of pride. Huangpu Finglay was as pale as a sheet of paper, his pupils dilated and half of his body laid shattered with vague signs of life. Half of his face shuddered, expressing a contorted and grisly image of unbelievable despair. He ran unchecked over Tianyu for 100 years and never conceived it humanly possible for the day to come when he'd lose in such a wretched and nasty way. Li Jingshan, we have no hatred. Why must you be so obsessed with my death? Words slipped out of Huangpu Finglay's stiff face. Coughing from the pain in his chest, Li Jingshan's smile never left him. Huangpu Finglay, today you lost to me in 3 moves. In your blind arrogance, you once said to me that I was of poor talent, only worthy to be behind you. You were strong then, shaking me to the core as I looked up to you as my role model. But 30 years passed while I trained Imperial Tyrant Body Art to the 7th stage, only to have my cultivation cut short by your refusal, saying that I'm not worthy to pursue the complete art. When I argued, you beat me up in 1 strike. Then you said that I've reached my limit, and no matter which cultivation method I train in, it'd all be wasted on me, and I'm not fit to follow you. Ever since that day, I've only been a mere guest venerable, an outsider to your venerable circle, and seeing those nondescript Regent Estate venerables training in the full cultivation method, I could never accept this. Even more so when you said that I have reached my limit. I never cared for being an outsider at all. From then on, you have always been my rival, and I vowed to myself to defeat you one day. That day has come, ha ha ha, Li Jingshan spluttered blood. Huangpu Finglay felt like crying. Li Jingshan, you narrow-minded fool, you've held on to that trifling event till now. To you it may be pointless, but to me it was unforgettable. My path has no end, and no one alive can say otherwise, not even you. Li Jingshan shouted through the pain. Huangpu Finglay sighed, it is my mistake, my. His eyes closed, his face twitched and relaxed. He had let go of all hatred, finding peace. Li Jingshan showed a confident smile. High Venerable Huangpu Finglay was a man who would put honor above all, but he admitted in the end that he was wrong about Li Jingshan. Because Li Jingshan had beaten him, that 2 in less than 10 moves, Li Jingshan's cultivation was far from over. I won. Closing his eyes, Li Jingshan collapsed. Zai Tiansheng appeared beside him, helping him up. He only relaxed after sensing his breath. As a fellow martial fanatic, the headstrong Li Jingshan was a prime example. He hoped for one day to beat his own rival. Zai Tiansheng's eyes flashed as he looked at Zhuo Fan, shouting, Zhuo Fan, Elder Li is fine, only blacked out from the wounds. Zai Tiansheng took Li Jingshan away. Zhuo Fan relaxed, but Zai Tiansheng's look had him stunned. Why does it feel like he's looking at me like an enemy? Aren't we allies? Zhuo Fan smiled dejectedly and turned to Huangpu Tianyuan. Elder Lei and Huangpu Finglay's battle has reached its end. Our top general's fight now has a conclusion carrying a sad tone with it. What sadness, as kings vying for the crown, power is everything. Huangpu Finglay died because he was weaker. I'm not sad, so why should you be? Huangpu Tianyuan snorted. Zhuo Fan sighed. I am not sad about your high venerable. Elder Li's story has moved me. A story about someone posing for decades, of how his showboating cracked at the seams in his final moments. It's true what they say, posers get thunderstruck. He got what he deserved. Shouldn't Steward Zhu take heed then, having the same style? Huangpu Tianyuan quipped. Zhu Fan scratched his nose and nodded. Yeah, after Elder Li's lesson, I think it's best to not only kill those posing in front of me, but also those I'm posing to. Now that you mention it, Estate Lord Huangpu, have I ever posed with you around? Always, but can you kill me? Huangpu Tianyuan raised a taunting eyebrow. Zhu Fan looked him right in the eye as the calm gave way to endless bloodthirst. He flashed in his enemy's face, right hand glowing red. Huangpu Tianyuan found the punch already on his chest, reacting only as he was sent flying. Rumble Huangpu Tianyuan slammed into 3 mountains, cutting them down to size. Huangpu Tianyuan ended up buried under all the rock slides. Zhu Fan's grin contorted. I've yet to meet anyone who I've wanted dead but who has survived. Estate Lord, Regent Estate's side shuddered restless. But there was no sign of movement from the rubble. Just as everyone started to believe that he had kicked the bucket in one hit, an eerie cackle came. Hi, Zhu Fan, is that all your mighty punch can muster? Zhu Fan deadpanned. Sure enough, 9 Dragons' diamond body isn't just a fancy name. Now let us begin our fight, king against king. Roar dragonic cries echoed from the rubble, 8 of them. The dust around glittered as a golden glow reflected off it, flooding the entire sky. The thick dust had no chance at containing the mighty light show. Zhu Fan watched the display, fully on guard for anyone or anything that might jump at him. Bam! The rubble pile made of 3 ruined mountains erupted, sending rocks around at breakneck speeds. It took just a blink for the faint figure within that rubble to go from there to over here. The sight of it sent everyone gasping. Calling it a human was putting it mildly. It had the head of a dragon, 4 sharp talons designed to claw the heavens, covered in scales and with a steel-like whip to boot. That thing was a man-eating savage beast. 9 Dragons' diamond body, full body transformation, unbreakable diamond body, Zhu Fan gasped. Huangpu Tianyuan cackled. This is the pinnacle of dragon transformation. 4 dragon souls have become earth dragon claws, 1 earth dragon body, 1 earth dragon head, and the last earth dragon tail. Zhu Fan, you only have 2 strong arms, of which only one is an earth dragon claw. You stand no chance against the might of this unbreakable diamond body. You're finished. Huangpu Tianyuan's eyes shined with bloodlust. Regent Estate's side got fired up. Except for Regent Estate's venerables, everyone was in the dark about Estate Lord Huangpu's newfound power focused on dealing with Zhu Fan alone. The worry of how to deal with an exemplary freak like Zhu Fan was now gone, giving way to confidence. Estate Lord's indifference at High Venerable's death became obvious now. He had upgraded himself to the ranks of freaks. Regent Estate's morale was at an all-time high, with victory in sight. While this had the opposite effect on Drifting Flowers edifices, Veiled Dragon Pavilion and Sword Marquise Abode's side, it went beyond their predictions for Huangpu Tianyuan to come fully trained in 9 Dragons' diamond body. That made relying on Zhu Fan to score a win for them somewhat problematic. Anxiety was building. Only Zhu Fan was casual. Of the 9 dragon vein souls, 1 was his and the 8 were right in front of him. But this guy has only used 7 in his transformation. Is there perhaps 1 more transformation? What will he turn into then? Taking in Huangpu Tianyuan's monstrous visage, Zhu Fan failed to see what other transformation could be added to it. He took this as a warning sign for what may come. The last dragon soul may very well be the move to kill me. All the more reason he had to force the enemy to reveal it, create a counter for it, and win this thing. Zhu Fan flicked his arms. Earth Dragon Soul Transformation. Roar. The roar came from Zhu Fan's left hand, glowing bright gold and revealing the same claw that Huangpu Tianyuan had 3 to spare. His right hand turned red as well, bringing out the power of Killing Arm and Earth Dragon Claw. Huangpu Tianyuan opened his sharp maw in a taunting laughter. Like I said, you only have the Earth Dragon Claw while I have the unbreakable diamond body. It's time I bring back the 9th dragon soul where it belongs. Huangpu Tianyuan was upon Zhu Fan in a blink. Zhu Fan widened his eyes at the sheer speed, just short of shift. He clawed with his left arm on instinct. Clang. The 2 earth dragon claws screeched on contact, locked in place. Grinning, Huangpu Tianyuan revealed a savage look while holding Zhu Fan's left arm busy. Zhu Fan was clear on his plan, wanting to turn this into a contest of raw power. And with the old guy's entire body prepped and primed, like Gu Santong's, he had no weaknesses. while beside his two beast fists, Zhuo Fan was all human. Even after the grueling refining, it fell short to an earth dragon's body. That made a contest of strength the worst choice, something Huangpu Tianyuan insisted on. Snickering, Huangpu Tianyuan had Zhuo Fan's earth dragon claw busy while using another claw to slam his brain pan. Bam. This time the clashing sound came from the impact between Zhuo Fan's right arm with the earth dragon claw. The pitch-black eyes looking at him dead in the eye made him clench his teeth. I am more than clear on your left arm, though I am curious, how did you get your right arm to match the earth dragon claw? He, quite a fine specimen. I guess I'll just have to rip it out of your cold, dead body. Huangpu Tianyuan's mouth revealed rows of fangs. Zhuo Fan snorted, Estate Lord Huangpu, your sons were naive and you're no different. If my head was such an easy target, I'd have long since lost it by now. But where the Emperor and Gu Santong failed, do you think you'll succeed? That only makes it vintage, becoming my life's prized trophy. Huangpu Tianyuan laughed, his left earth dragon claw tightening on Zhuo Fan's killing arm. Zhuo Fan fumed inside. He tensed his arms to get away, but found them in a vice. Huangpu Tianyuan laughed, even if you use an earth dragon claw like me, I am a peak radiant stage cultivator, while you are a stage short. Now that you're going nowhere and your arms are locked, you're like a gimp. But even without these two arms, I can still take your life. Huangpu Tianyuan unhinged his jaw and bit on Zhuo Fan's head. The whistling wind between those sharp fangs made Zhuo Fan shiver. His allies were shaking with worry. Zhuo Fan was pinned down and had no place to dodge. Huangpu Tianyuan had to just clamp down, cutting short his life in this war. Zhuo Fan squinted, his brow soaked, waiting for the last moment as he stared into the mouth of darkness and found the tooth decay of logic festering therein before ducking his head. Bam. The snap of those fangs rattled the ears of everyone while almost blowing out Zhuo Fan's eardrums. It was a testament to its savage power. Zhuo Fan sighed relieved, unlike the tense audience. He had made a lucky escape, but his position was still very much precarious. His hands were still in deadlock, making him easy picking for the monster looming above. Zhuo Fan struggled, but those arms just wouldn't budge. Huangpu Tianyuan toyed with him. Steward Zhuo. Everyone reaches their end, and today it's yours. You dodged my bite from above, but how will you escape when I attack from below as well? Huangpu Tianyuan opened his mouth again as the tail whipped at Zhuo Fan. The shrill sound that tail made as it traveled stung his mind and vexed his heart. It was more than capable of splitting his head down the middle, but dodging it would put him right between those fangs. Zhuo Fan was pushed into a corner. Luo clan was worried for him, their hearts in their throats. They wanted to come to his rescue, but with how not even Zhuo Fan could overpower Huangpu Tianyuan, their odds were slim at best. Regent Estate's allies had it better, everyone smiling at Zhuo Fan's plight. They'd see the hatred for their ancestors' desecration be repaid in full. Estate Lord Huangpu reigns supreme. Yu Wanshan and others got to an early celebration. But in the face of such a problem, while tied and facing the jaws of death, Zhuo Fan showed no fear. Maybe his flashing right eye had something to do with it. Divine Eye of the Void's first stage shift. Whoosh, Zhuo Fan appeared 100 meters away just as Huangpu Tianyuan chomped down with another resounding snap. The tail swept in tandem, cutting the air with such force, a shockwave flew at a lonely hill a kilometer away. Whipping it out of existence, the people tensed up at the overbearing display of power. The slightest twitch from that tail will have any one of us gone from this world just like that hill. Zhuo Fan's eyes were fixed on the ghastly creature, rejoicing at his timely escape. He had Divine Eye of the Void to thank for the lucky break. Alert as he was against 9 dragons' diamond body, facing it was still deadly. The earlier display was enough to make his skin crawl. That's what got him so confident that he can handle me and Gu Santong once he got the Bodhi root. Zhuo Fan settled his frantic heart with a long breath. Crack turning his head, Huangpu Tianyuan's neck let out snapping sounds, mocking, almost forgot you have that as well. You're fast, sure, but are you faster than me? Huangpu Tianyuan flicked his tail and was on Zhuo Fan in a blink. Zhuo Fan saw 2 claws going for his head and the steel tail coming at him again. Zhuo Fan's eye flashed golden again and he was gone. But just as he appeared, Huangpu Tianyuan flicked his tail to be in his face moments later. While Zhuo Fan was popping all over, Huangpu Tianyuan was with him every step of the way, leaving no room to even breathe. Everyone was a bundle of nerves watching them go. It was a first to see the ever-cocky Zhuo Fan being on the run, taking with him the confidence they had in winning this war. With Zhuo Fan on the run, who else was left to deal with Huangpu Tianyuan? Zhuo Fan was overwhelmed as well. No matter where he went, the guy was there to welcome him, putting the squeeze on him more and more. It worked to show that his Divine Eye of the Void had room for improvement, his training lacking. Yu Wanshan and the others were overjoyed, grinning from ear to ear. Who 2 blue wings sprouted from Zhuo Fan's back, see phantom wings. Their bluish glow spread, and Huangpu Tianyuan felt his mind slowing down, his view becoming hazy. But as he had trained in 9 Dragons' diamond body, he was a peak radiant stage expert and had the soul to fight back the illusion. But it proved to be a delay enough for experts of Zhuo Fan's caliber. This is my chance. Zhuo Fan used this gap to use his red right arm to punch. Bam, Huangpu Tianyuan was blown away. Zhuo Fan's mouth curled up, but then his face froze and trembled. No way, the mighty Kilin arm actually. Rumble, Huangpu Tianyuan tumbled in the air a few times before getting upright again. He looked at his chest and grinned. There was a faint imprint there, but nothing he couldn't handle. Hi, Zhuo Fan, is that all you could muster after finally catching me open? Humph, that barely even tickled. Huangpu Tianyuan cackled, with his allies tooting their horns in tandem. Drifting Flowers edifices and the rest were only getting glum. Huangpu Tianyuan was like an unbreakable monster, robbing them of any chance at victory, even if they got lucky enough to take a shot at him. Since besides luck, one had to target his weakness, scoring them the win. But Huangpu Tianyuan didn't have any weaknesses. Zhuo Fan's side was in the pits of despair. Shadow King, Sima Hui, and Fang Qiubai, the innocent bystanders close by, were speechless. We all sensed Huangpu Tianyuan was reborn, but never imagined he'd train in 9 Dragons' diamond body. Zhuo Fan can't do anything. Shadow King sighed. If this keeps up, it'll be Regent Estate's victory. And Huangpu Tianyuan becomes our greatest threat. Sima Hui sighed. We would have lent the Luo clan a hand earlier if we had known. But now Huangpu Tianyuan has an overwhelming position, and this will only make dealing with him harder. The others nodded, and Fang Qiubai said, Gu Santong may be the only one who can fight him. But ever since he went after Zhuo Fan, the bugger has gone missing. Maybe Zhuo Fan finished him off. Shadow King snorted. The kid is tough, but a child at heart. With Zhuo Fan's schemes, even being weaker, he'd have supreme advantage. It'd be simple to kill him in some way or another. Without Gu Santong, how are we supposed to deal with Huangpu Tianyuan? We were supposed to work with Huangpu Tianyuan to nab Zhuo Fan and then get him later. But now, even if we team up with Zhuo Fan, the 9 Dragons' diamond body isn't easy to surmount. All we can do is watch. His Majesty's plan already has deviations. Sima Hui sighed. Shadow King nodded. Don't be so sure. We still have 2 more people. Who? Sima Hui asked. Shadow King's eyes flashed in anger. His Majesty's 5 divine dragons are real, and he does have 2 experts back in the imperial capital. They were tasked to constrict Gu Santong, but by the looks of things, they'll be going against 9 Dragons' diamond body. What? The 2 cried. These 2 divine dragons were in the dark about this, while Shadow King knew them quite well, judging by his tone. Shadow King smiled at their bewilderment and recalled out loud, "They're old friends of mine, in a way, and more than worthy to be called divine dragons. It's natural to not know about them since you came later. Wouldn't you have been quicker to leave His Majesty's side otherwise, knowing he'd be defenseless?" the 2 exclaimed. It's all part of His Majesty's plan, but they've been by his side for so many years, yet the Emperor not once let it slip about the extra 2 divine dragons. It went to show how uneasy he felt about them. The 2 sides souring inside. Back to Zhuo Fan, he glared at his enemy, plans running wild in that head of his. His right arm shone brighter. Still won't give up. Stop wasting time. I am invincible. You can struggle all you want, but your destiny is to lie dead at my feet. Zhuo Fan, there's no getting out of this one. Huangpu Tianyuan's eyes flashed with savagery. Zhuo Fan snickered, flicking his shining red arm. Who can tell? Since my punch does nothing, I'll just have to stomp ya. Stomp. Huangpu Tianyuan glanced at his legs in derision. You only have powerful arms. You think your puny legs can do what your arms can't. We won't know until we try. Humph. Zhuo Fan's twisted smile came. Huangpu Tianyuan's common sense was tingling, but seeing how Zhuo Fan's latest tricks were for naught, he had stopped paying it any attention. No matter how sly and slippery Zhuo Fan was, in the face of true power, it was all moot. Huangpu Tianyuan swished his tail and shot for Zhuo Fan. The latter used shift to pop 100 meters above. Huangpu Tianyuan flicked his tail to go after him, just as Zhuo Fan's mouth curled into a creepy smile, his red right arm smashing down at him. Huangpu Tianyuan scoffed, using an earth dragon claw to block. On contact, the red fist exploded in size, changing its shape from a fist into a spiritual beast's hoof. In the face of the rippling winds, the ridiculous power and boundless might, Huangpu Tianyuan knew he had fallen for it good. With Zhuo Fan coming from above and him from below, it was far too late to dodge. The red hoof even brought along a sense of danger. He hated himself for not keeping his guard up around this punk. Zhuo Fan was laughing. Huangpu Tianyuan, I'll trample those old bones of yours. Tangible projection, soaring Kilin leg. Bam! It looked like a hunk of rock was coming down as the red kiln leg impacted Huangpu Tianyuan's face, stomping down hard enough to crack something, going by those sounds. Huangpu Tianyuan put up all four claws, but nothing had any damn use in stopping it. He kissed the ground so hard the shock wave engulfed the battlefield. Many experts spat blood from it, taking some much-needed safety distance. The dust rose and covered both of them. As the dust settled, light showed a horrifying scene. Zhuo Fan's right arm had turned into a 100-meter-tall blood-red pillar. It stood upright and tall as it held up the sky. Zhuo Fan was so tiny next to it, making the contrast sharper on how a human being could release such a pillar. Shadow King's side was dumbstruck. Just when they thought they'd seen it all, Zhuo Fan had to get freakier with an even crazier move. That's what he meant by stomping. He has a third leg, but what kind of savage beast has such power? Staring at the 7th-level spiritual beast wings on Zhuo Fan's back and at the hoofed right arm, it got them wondering. How many inhuman parts does he have? Monster. They all thought of it, gulped and shook with fear. Zhuo Fan was still within the limits of a human monster up till now, but he had gone beyond with this display. No one there took this conclusion as a good thing. Drifting Flowers edifices, Veiled Dragon Pavilion and Sword Marquise abode jumped in fright, albeit happy at the reversal. He finally had the upper hand against the 9 dragons' diamond body. His advantage was directly proportionate with their odds at winning this war. Yuanshan's side slumped, their hearts a mess. Just a minute ago, they were hollering that Huangpu Tianyuan had surpassed the freaky Zhuo Fan, only to find out that Zhuo Fan was in fact a human-faced monster. How do you top that? You can go full Earth Dragon for all I care, you still can't take even one of his hits. Yuanshan's side found their earlier confidence maybe just a tiny bit premature. Every single move of Zhuo Fan is filled with mystery and tricks. You can't take him down so easily. Zhuo Fan had better things to do than to mind them, like smiling evilly. The kiln leg stuck deeper into the ground, compressing hundreds of meters into a mere dozen. Yuanshan and Regent Estate's venerables felt like crying. Unknown as was the fate of their estate lord under that hoof, but now they wondered if there'd even be a corpse left. If you go on trampling anymore, we won't even find a bone left. That's just barbaric. Zhuo Fan's belief was that true ruthlessness grasped certain victory. Crack Zhuo Fan just kept on pushing, snapping the bedrock like twigs. Each sound only helped drive fear and dread into Yuanshan and allies. Drifting Flowers Edifice's side was glad Zhuo Fan had made a comeback, but even they found it hard to see him still going at it. Dude, take it easy. Do you have to turn him into a bone meal? Zhuo Fan's capacity for cruelty was only in relation to Huangpu Tianyuan's danger. He wouldn't leave the enemy the slightest chance. He had to finish him off. This ought to do it. Zhuo Fan's arm glowed red and returned to being an innocent arm. Peering into the hole, he was speechless. The bedrock was turned to powder under the kiln leg's power. And a man everyone knew rested in the middle of all the sand. Albeit cracked all over, with blood leaking, it was safe to say that he was barely breathing. He's still alive despite kiln leg's full power, Zhuo Fan gasped. Everyone had witnessed the might of the kiln leg, and now they bore testament to the tough 9 dragons' diamond body. The guy's freaking tough, cough, blood spewed with every motion from his nose and mouth, ears and eyes, but Huangpu Tianyuan got his feet under him, laughing. Zhuo Fan, I definitely didn't see that one coming. But even with that killer move, you still can't take me down. To hell with you and your body, you're now broken and wounded. Since I couldn't kill you with the kiln leg the first time, the second attempt will finish you off. Humph, you're half dead, Zhuo Fan's eyes flashed. Huangpu Tianyuan only laughed harder. Half alive is more like it. Did you forget already? My 9 dragons' diamond body has reached this step with the help of Bodhi Root. It's not just tough but unbreakable. Huangpu Tianyuan made a sign and barked. 9 dragons' diamond body, 8th dragon's soul transformation, returning dragon's roar. Roar. Under the shocked looks of everyone, a green dragon's soul shot out of his body and roared as it circled above him. Green lights fell upon him, healing him to perfection, not even leaving a scar as the scales knit back together. When the dragon's soul returned back inside, he was now the very picture of health. Zhuo Fan's eyes trembled in shock. The ascending dragon fused with the Bodhi root and gets this bastard back to full health every time he's damaged. Adding that tough body into the mix and you'd have an indestructible killing machine. Zhuo Fan frowned. Shadow King's side was keyed up. Huangpu Tianyuan's outrageous power blew their minds. How were they going to beat that? Even if Gu Santong steps in, not even he can do anything. With this old monster healing back whenever, no one can beat him. Fang Qiubai shook his head. What about the other 2 divine dragons? Can they do it? Shadow King said. All I know is that they can handle Gu Santong, but cannot kill him. I reckon Huangpu Tianyuan falls in the same category. As long as there's a way, we'll just think about killing him later, Sima Hui muttered. Huangpu Tianyuan stretched his limbs in taunt to Zhuo Fan above, yet the man was calm and cool. Zhuo Fan's eyes flashed and he punched with his right arm again. Since I have no way to finish him off yet, I'll stall him. Torturing him is better than nothing. And who knows, maybe a way to kill him will come out of it. Classic delaying tactic. First bind the enemy, then get some time to think. It was such an obvious choice that even Huangpu Tianyuan could see it, so he retaliated with a flick of his tail and jumped out. Boom. Zhuo Fan's leg smashed the ground, but not Huangpu Tianyuan. Frowning, Zhuo Fan sighed inside, and of course it never goes as planned. He only got Huangpu Tianyuan the first time because of how close they were and having the element of surprise. But Huangpu Tianyuan was a fast learner. He had to keep some distance, and that speed of his was enough to stay clear. What was even worse was that Huangpu Tianyuan wasn't a cocky old coot like he acted, but was cautious instead. The worst enemy was a cautious one. Zhuo Fan sighed. Coming out empty with the enemy on guard left Zhuo Fan in truly dire straits. Case in point, he didn't have the time to take back his killing leg as a bloody maw came from behind. Zhuo Fan, now it's my turn, ha ha ha. With a roar of laughter, a sharp sound came from behind Zhuo Fan. Zhuo Fan used his left arm to fend it off as his right arm returned to normal size for receiving the next blow. PFF. Zhuo Fan's red hand was now holding a tail, but he wasn't out of the woods yet, as Huangpu Tianyuan's second claw came for him. With both hands busy and being unable to use Divine Eye of the Void at such short notice, Zhuo Fan resorted to using his wings as a cover. Rip, the Earth Dragon's claw pierced them like paper, soaking him in blood. Zhuo Fan's brow trembled with pain, yet he was covered with sweat. At least the Sea Phantom wings were from a 7th-level spiritual beast and were tough enough to hold the Earth Dragon's claw back with the both of them. Zhuo Fan's wings trembled, giving his all to resist. Huangpu Tianyuan opened his mouth as the claws and tail struggled in their confinements. Zhuo Fan needed the slightest distraction and his head would roll. The sight of Zhuo Fan getting pushed back got everyone tense. He couldn't do anything but be on the receiving end. It was hard to believe Huangpu Tianyuan was just that strong with his 9 dragons diamond body. Zhuo Fan was only in the profound heaven stage, and even his 2 beast arms weren't enough to save him from a hard time. Blast it, I can only retreat. Zhuo Fan sighed, not liking it one bit as his eyes shined golden. Huangpu Tianyuan could see it clear as day that he wanted to hightail away from the battle. With Zhuo Fan's cunning, falling for his tricks once was bad enough. He had to finish him off now when he had the upper hand. Who knew what this guy might cook up the next time around? Zhuo Fan was weak here and now, but his endless bag of tricks made him unpredictable. If by some miracle he escapes this time, it'd be even harder to beat him next time. And he needed to deal with Zhuo Fan fast. There was the imperial family to consider as well. Leaving Zhuo Fan alive now would be cutting his own feet in his fight with the imperial family. This has to end now. Huangpu Tianyuan's eyes flashed with bloodlust, making even Zhuo Fan shiver. But that wasn't important, as the golden halo in his eye promised safety. Ha ha ha, Huangpu Tianyuan, since I can't beat you, we'll be sure to meet again. Zhuo Fan snickered as he poofed away. The ripple was faint, and where a peak radiant stage expert might fail to pick it up, a 9 dragons diamond body could. His creepy ears flinched, and Huangpu Tianyuan mocked, hi fat chance Zhuo Fan. 9 dragons diamond body Earth Dragon wave. Roar. Huangpu Tianyuan howled at a spot 1,000 meters away. A beam of yellow shot from his maw just as Zhuo Fan appeared panting. Zhuo Fan cried inside, but it was too late. Boom, the explosion shone bright and Zhuo Fan caught the yellow pillar right in his chest. He paid a summary visit to the bowls of 5 mountains before being buried under their rubble. There was so much dust that it formed a hurricane. It soon cleared and revealed everything in ruins. A red trail came out of the rocks like a bloody spring and robbed any hope of Zhuo Fan being alive. Steward Zhuo, Qiu Yanhai and the rest panicked. Drifting Flowers edifices and Veiled Dragon Pavilion were also worried. Huangpu Tianyuan mocked, Dragon Vein Soul is a guardian spirit of the lands. Since I train in the 9 dragons diamond body and am also in the Earth Dragon form, I can pick up any changes in the area. Messing with space around me is like painting a target on your back. That Earth Dragon wave is my true power. Not even the Earth Dragon claw can handle it, to say nothing of getting hit squarely in the chest. He's dead beyond any doubt. Huangpu Tianyuan is invincible, Yuanshan's side cheered, while the Luo clan paled, their hopes seeping out of them like the blood from those rocks. Huangpu Tianyuan's declaration wasn't just to brag. Steward Zhuo had the worst luck this time, but without him, what were they supposed to do? Despair set in faster than they could accept it. Huangpu Tianyuan only had eyes for Zhuo Fan. To peak radiant stage expert, only he mattered, the rest were mere flies. As long as Zhuo Fan died, everything else would be foregone conclusion. He had a firm grasp at victory already. Fang Qiubai's sides sighed, lamenting and shaking their heads. A mighty character like Zhuo Fan ended up getting one shot by Huangpu Tianyuan. This power is outrageous. Sima Hui watched the monster with fear. Shadow King sighed, 9 dragons' diamond body having a tough body was bad enough, but with the Bodhai root, he's invincible. He's worse than Gu Santong. I wonder if those two and I can fight him off. Senior, that's not all. When Gu Santong wrecked Tianyu, he did it alone. His fists were too few to handle so many and ended up limited. But Huangpu Tianyuan wants the world. He has both an army and power. It will be far harder than Gu Santong, Fang Qiubai said. The others considered and sighed again. The battlefield turned quiet, with all fighting stopped and everyone turned towards Huangpu Tianyuan, either in fear or joy or respect. But to Huangpu Tianyuan, neither allies nor enemies mattered. Ever since killing Zhuo Fan, he understood one thing from those worshipping gazes. Allies or enemies meant nothing, only ultimate power mattered. With enough power no one could touch him. With enough power no one would question him. Ha ha ha, laughing, Huangpu Tianyuan flew to Zhuo Fan's tomb, roaring, Zhuo Fan, it's time you return the last dragon soul. I want to reach the ethereal stage, becoming the first in Tianyu. Before reaching the mound, a wave from the rubble caught him first. Huangpu Tianyuan halted, looking in the sky. Zhuo Fan, how are you still alive? Zhuo Fan was up there the next moment, albeit pale, bloody, and out of breath. His chest sported an extra large hole as well. How convenient that it never went through him completely. He was only heavily wounded, but still alive. Qiu Yanhai's side sighed. Zhuo Fan's very existence kept hope alive. What trick did you pull? That earth dragon wave had the power of 8 dragon souls. Those hands might have saved you, but anywhere else it hits, it'd run through you and blast you apart. Even if you used the 2 arms to defend, the shock would have wrecked your body. How is it that you're barely wounded? Huangpu Tianyuan cried foul. Zhuo Fan snickered, humph, while you have the earth dragon wave, I have the Kilin shield. Don't think you can write me off in one hit. Zhuo Fan looked at the red glow over him in joy. As luck had it, from refining the Kilin arm into his body, it even released a red shield. It was the same red cover he saw back in Lightning Canyon, the soaring Kilin's defense. With how not even Heavenly Emperor's purple lightning could pierce it, how could anything else? Zhuo Fan was badly hurt by the impact with the earth dragon wave and not the subsequent shocks, or he'd be in pieces by now. Zhuo Fan sure was glad that he made the trip to Lightning Canyon. Huangpu Tianyuan's eyes grew savage. Zhuo Fan was playing too close to the now hollow chest with too many skills. Dread started pouring in, thinking of the future. Zhuo Fan snickered, this round is yours, we'll be seeing ya. His wings carried his broken body away. Huangpu Tianyuan roared after him, where do you think you're going? Your head stays right here. The two were gone in a blink. The battlefield was filled with dumb faces. With the commanders gone, what are we supposed to do? Leng Wucheng shouted all of a sudden, damn it, it's Zhuo Fan's trick, fall back. What's wrong, Sir Leng? The enemy's morale is weakened. How can we retreat now? Yuanchen asked. Leng Wucheng's mood was heavy, pondering before speaking. I am not too clear myself, but this situation reminds me of the fight in the esoteric debate. The House Lord's heart seized. You can also feel it, right? Zhuo Fan was on the ropes with no way out, but we all know how that turned out. Leng Wucheng's heart thumped. Yuanchen stood dumbstruck and fearful, turning utter defeat into complete victory. Sir Leng, are you saying this time as well? No, he's clearly wounded, defenseless, rooted. Yuanchen refused to believe, but still droned, though the same happened to him in the esoteric debate. No, he had it far worse then. Yet he still won, breaking Huangpu Qingshan's team and torturing them to death. Sir Leng, do you mean today's defeat is a trap? Yan Bogong shuddered. Since the esoteric debate, Zhuo Fan's savagery had left him traumatized. In any case like this one, the enemy was left for dead, waiting for them to take their head. But everyone knew Zhuo Fan was an anomaly. As long as there was breath in his body, anything could happen. They've seen it far too many times how Zhuo Fan flipped the tables in the worst cases and ways imaginable. Leng Wucheng sighed, I am not sure. The kid is one of the few I can't see through. But one thing is certain, Zhuo Fan was defeated today, but even so he fled. This is a trap to lure the tiger. Everyone shuddered and looked at the two armies. Without Huangpu Tianyuan to back them, they were losing ground. In this war, they would end up defeated. With both sides experts around the same level, only Luo clan's fiends stood apart. Not to mention the power couple could waste a regent estate venerable in a blink each. While the 4 scheming demons could keep 20 of them busy and suffering. If the fight started, they would have heavy casualties. And even if Huangpu Tianyuan made a lucky return, they would only get a bitter victory. And to think that they still had to fight the imperial family, they all found it not worth it. The House Lords glanced at Leng Wucheng and nodded. but they had to get the Luo clan's approval first. Qiu Yanhai and Zhu Qingjian showed a creepy smile. Qiu Yanhai roared, "Brothers and allies of the Luo clan, together now, let's crush them. Elder Qiu, our morale is low, how?" grandmother cried. Zhu Qingjian waved, "They say Lady of Steel fears nothing, so why are you so shaky? Don't you see, with the superpowers gone from each camp, the situation is in our favor. Even if it's a bitter victory, it's still a victory, hi. Grandmother looked at everyone to find it was true. She and the other house lord were too caught up in their despair over Zhuo Fan's loss to see with fresh eyes. With those two freaks out of the mix, they were the strongest. Grandmother eyed her allies. Was it Steward Zhuo's plan? The two looked at each other, then nodded. The couple was out of the loop just as well, though. Zhuo Fan would never do things half-measured. His loss had to be real, but that wasn't the issue here, instead turning it into a chance at victory, something Zhuo Fan gave them. To get their spirits up, the power couple had to say it's Zhuo Fan's idea. Grandmother and company got fired up. They fell for Steward Zhuo's trap. Attack! Roar! The depressed Luo clan faction perked up on the fly and roared. In a war, the losing side would technically be down in the dumps, but led to believe it was all part of Zhuo Fan's ingenious and foolproof scheme, and reminded of his sly character, none took his defeat as real and stormed the enemy. The enemy froze like sitting ducks. Does that mean we fell for his trap? Regent Estate's side turned to the powers that be, but they were now listening to Leng Wucheng's conjecture. They knew it was not like Qiu Yanhai painted it, so how can they still get their spirits up? Those leaders joined them in putting on the same dumbstruck face. Regent Estate factions' morale hit rock bottom, with some even believing that the Estate Lord was now Zhuo Fan's punching bag in a convoluted scheme of his. Estate Lord was tough, but nothing could stand Zhuo Fan's freaky mind games. Wasn't the eldest young master toyed to death in a 4-versus-1 battle? Everyone paled, their hearts sinking and losing all hope. While the other side was roaring to go, looking at them like a bunch of sheeps waiting for the axe to fall, Yuanshan cursed, "For God's sake, how the hell did it come to this? It's too late to fall back now, they'll hunt us down. It's better to fight. Is Estate Lord Huanpu so dull as to not see such a simple trick? Yeah, how did he get duped by such an old trick?" Leng Wucheng sighed, but he knew the truth. Huanpu Tianyuan was never duped but was only taking a calculated risk. Zhuo Fan was a bigger threat than the fate of this battle. Regent Estate's experts might die here today, but as long as Zhuo Fan fell, it was a win in his book. He was overconfident in his 9 dragons diamond body, thinking of himself as unstoppable. Estate Lord, has the taste of victory gone to your head? Did you forget about Gu Santong 300 years ago? Leng Wucheng sighed. The armies clashed. Rainbow Cloud Palm. Yan Bogong in the lead unleashed his poisoned mist to gain the advantage, but his efforts were met with another poisoned mist from the Luo clan, pushing it back. 9 poison fantasy palm, Yan Song roared. The mist vanished and appeared every now and then, making defense useless. It not only absorbed the rainbow cloud palm, but even poisoned many experts, to the point that even Radiant Stage experts took a breath of it at some point, getting their power cut. What poison art is that? Yan Bogong stammered. Yan Song snickered. Hee, Hall Lord, time sure flies, eh? Do you perhaps find Steward Zhuo's 9 poison fantasy palm a bit stronger than Pil King Hall's rainbow cloud palm? Damn traitor, you dare show your face to me, Yan Bogong cursed. Yan Song grinned. Yan Bogong, I never fought you out of respect, but after leaving Pil King Hall, how did you treat my disciple? Today we'll settle all debts. The both of you are Pil King Hall's traitors. I will kill you where you stand and cleanse my house. Yan Bogong shot for Yan Song, who did the same. Boom, 2 palms clashed and the poison spread so far that everyone moved 1,000 meters away. They knew the rainbow cloud palm all too well and had no trouble dodging it. But in 9 poison fantasy palms case, with its endless variations, it was impossible to defend all 81 poisons from seeping in. In seconds, Yan Bogong was riddled with 5 colored spots, poisoned and in pain. As a fellow poisoner, he knew the hellish power this move had. But with how this move was stronger than Pil King Hall's, along with its eerie movements, he failed to stay clear, ending up losing power as he was poisoned. The more he fought, the worse it got, and the tears welled. Where the hell did Yan Song get this art? Wasn't Pil King Hall the best in Tianyu when it comes to poison and pills? His face fell as he recalled every Luo clan's expert's unique and amazing art. Yan Bogong knew Zhuo Fan was a monster. Is he a living library or what? How the hell does he come up with so many cultivation methods and even a poison one at that? A damn conniving deceiver, Yan Bogong cursed as his face fell. He knew the poison ran deep within him.